Chapter 94. Mu Chichi was at ease in his arms. She closed her eyes and said, "Do I need to choose anyone else when I have you? Does it still hurt there?" Sheng Xiao asked from above her head. "It hurts when I move," Mu Chichi answered honestly. Sheng Xiao got up from the bed and put on his clothes. Mu Chichi was puzzled. She wanted to ask him, but he had already picked up the car key from the bedside table. "I'm going out for a while. You sleep first." "Xiao Xiao." Mu Chichi wanted to get up, but Sheng Xiao had already disappeared from the room. Mu Chichi did not know where he went. She started to think about it. But in less than half an hour, Sheng Xiao came back with the medicine in his hand. "Xiao Xiao." Sheng Xiao went to the bathroom to wash his hands. Then, he went back to the bed and lifted Mu Chichi's blanket. Mu Chichi was stunned. She wanted to get up, but Sheng Xiao stopped her. "This medicine can relieve the pain a little. I'll do it myself, can you see?" Sheng Xiao snorted. Mu Chichi blushed. She had never thought that Sheng Xiao would do such a thing for her, even though they were already so close. But with Sheng Xiao's status, he could do whatever he wanted without caring about her feelings. But he was so considerate. Mu Chichi just lay there. After a while, she felt the body next to her sinking. She jumped into Sheng Xiao's arms. She was very satisfied. "Xiao Xiao, you are the best to me. You are useless." Sheng Xiao hugged Mu Chichi. Although his words were harsh, his body was honest. He comforted Mu Chichi and coaxed her to sleep. Their first time did not go well. Of course, it was not terrible either. What they did not know was that Lu Wenhua saw them going out in the middle of the night. He was already suspicious. But when he saw Mu Chichi the next day, Lu Wenhua did not expose Mu Chichi. Because he still needed to know if they were in a relationship or if they really went out in the middle of the night because of something. "Thanks to you, I feel much better." Su Zipei thanked Lu Wenhua. She looked at Lu Wenhua with a much gentler gaze. When she married that bastard, she had never been taken care of like this. So, she would not be lying if she said that she was not moved. "I'm glad you're fine." Lu Wenhua answered Su Zipei. Then, he asked, "Is Chichi close to young Master Sheng?" "Young Master Sheng is our greatest benefactor. Chichi relies on him the most, and he takes good care of us." Su Zipei smiled. "Young Master Sheng is not like what the rumors say. He is just unforgiving." "That's right. Is Mu Chichi close to young Master Sheng in private?" "I didn't." Su Zipei shook her head. "Young Master Sheng is very busy with work. He doesn't come to the villa often." "What's wrong? Why did you suddenly ask?" "It's nothing. I just feel that young Master Sheng really cares about Mu Chichi." Lu Wenhua had only seen it once. Of course, he couldn't just tell Su Zipei like that. He had to confirm it. It would be best if things did not turn out the way he expected. But if there were feelings between the two that they shouldn't have, things would get complicated. Leaving aside the consequences of Su Zipei learning about it, Sheng Xiao's reason for helping Mu Chichi was not as simple as it seemed. Hence, Lu Wenhua decided to observe a few more times. Meanwhile, the members of the Mu family were still in a terrible predicament, because Mu Chichi's conditions had indeed exceeded their bottom line. Papa Mu hoped that he could get Mu Chichi's help without paying any price. But deep down in his heart, he knew that it was impossible. Mu Group was in trouble now. His brothers were pressuring him. Ever since Papa Mu took over Mu Group, he had never been so troubled. Mu Tangxue had been beaten up for a few days. She knew that if she didn't fight back, she might not be able to win back Papa Mu's heart. So, late at night, she kept thinking of a way to regain her father's favor. After all, she had nowhere else to go other than Mu Group. After she thought of a way, she walked out of her room. She tiptoed to Papa Mu's study room. Papa Mu said in an unfriendly tone when he saw her at the door, "Why are you here?" "Dad, I'm here to help you," Mu Tangxue said to Papa Mu. As long as you still think that I'm your daughter, I'm willing to give you the 5% of Mu Group's shares that Grandpa gave me. It's to appease your anger. Do you think that you can still keep your shares? Dad, apart from this, there's also the matter of Mommy wanting to divorce you. I can help you deal with the aftermath. I promise, she won't take a single cent from you. Papa Mu looked at Mu Tangxue. He thought that it was a joke for an 18-year-old girl to say something like that. But, after laughing, Papa Mu became serious again. Because he knew that he had a wrong impression of his two daughters in the past. Mu Tangxue's strength was not shown at all. Thinking about that, Papa Mu nodded and waved at Mu Tangxue. Come here, Mu Tangxue walked to Papa Mu. Papa Mu stood up and patted her shoulder. As long as you can help me solve these two problems, I won't be angry with you anymore. Everything will go back to how it was before. You'll still be the most beloved daughter of the Mu family. Dad, don't worry. With the 5% of Mu Tangshua's shares and the other half that Grandpa Mu was willing to give up, it was not a problem to solve Mu Qiqi's problem as long as it did not harm his interests. But I won't be able to go to school anymore. You can't go to school. But the Ministry of Education did not say that you can't invite a teacher to our house. It's just that you can't take the exam for 5 years. You can learn first. After 5 years, you'll get a diploma. It was so easy to reach a consensus. Mu Tangxue thought about the humiliation and hatred that Mu Qiqi brought to her. It was fine. She would let Mu Qiqi have the upper hand now. When the time was right, she would get it back. Are you really confident about your mother's matter? Dad, trust me, Mu Tangxue said to Papa Mu. Mu Tangxue replied to Papa Mu. I'll learn my lesson this time. I won't do such a shameful thing again. It's good that you know. So, the Mu family decided on the shares. They contacted Su Zipei as soon as possible. Su Zipei called Lu Wenhua out of reflex. Chapter 95. Mu Qiqi was already an adult. Logically speaking, it was not a bad thing to be in a relationship. But it was complicated between Mu Qiqi and Xing Xiao. First of all, the two families were enemies. Secondly, they were the benefactors of each other now. He did not want to think about how much trouble the Xing family would put in when they were together. Mu Qiqi was still young. Lu Wenhua did not want her to get involved in a relationship at such a young age. Especially when it was with Xing Xiao. After all, Xing Xiao was the crown prince of Huangyao. He would inherit his father's position and become the CEO of the Diamond Empire. So, Xing Xiao did not have the right to choose his partner. So, he had to confirm their relationship. It would be best if he guessed wrong. But, if he guessed right, he had to do something. Soon, it was 11 o'clock at night. Mu Qiqi went out as promised. She got into Xing Xiao's car and the two of them disappeared at the entrance of the small mansion. Lu Wenhua wanted to follow them but he was afraid that Xing Xiao would notice him. So, he stopped outside the small mansion. If he told Su Zipei about it now, Mu Qiqi would be caught red-handed. But, he did not want to agitate Su Zipei. He wanted to think about how to deal with it. Not long after Xing Xiao left, Lu Wenhua also left. Xing Xiao had planted his men in the security area of the small mansion. So, when he saw Lu Wenhua leaving with Xing Xiao, he immediately called Xing Xiao. Young Master Sheng, Mr. Lu seems to be following you. Xing Xiao stopped the car by the roadside and turned off the engine. Not long after, Lu Wenhua's car passed by them. Mu Qiqi did not know what Xing Xiao meant. So, she asked, "What's wrong?" "Principal Lu found you in my car." Xing Xiao replied with a gloomy look. Then, he asked Mu Qiqi, "Do you want to admit it or clarify it?" Xing Xiao did not care about who knew about it. But, he cared about Mu Qiqi's feelings. As long as Mu Qiqi said that she would clarify it, Lu Wenhua's misunderstanding would be cleared up soon. "Xiao Xiao, do you think Uncle Lu will tell Aunt Zipei?" Lu Wenhua is very careful. If he is not sure, he will not tell your aunt, Xing Xiao replied. Then, he started the engine again. Then, what will be the consequences if he finds out? Mu Qiqi looked at him and asked seriously, I'm going to university soon. I'm an adult too. My privacy and private life should be protected. Compared to her previous panic, Mu Qiqi was much calmer now. I'm afraid Lu Wenhua won't think so. Xing Xiao smiled dangerously. Who do you think I am? What kind of person was he? Forget it. You don't have to worry about it. Why? He will definitely come to me first, Xing Xiao answered confidently, and entered the new house with Mu Qiqi. Remembering that the Mu family had agreed to give her shares, she asked, Can I transfer the shares to Aunt Zipei now? Are you sure you won't leave any for yourself? Mu Qiqi shook her head. I'm following you. Why do I need the Mu Jia's shares? Because she didn't want to be entangled with the Mu family. Because if her relationship with Xing Xiao were to be exposed one day, at least she would be able to distance herself from the Mu family. Xing Xiao understood what she meant. He pinched her face. I've told you before. You don't need to think about me. You can fight for what you want. I want you. Mu Qiqi answered Xing Xiao straightforwardly. But it was a psychological need. But, Xing Xiao misunderstood it. Your body needs to rest a little more. Xing Xiao carried her into the bathroom. They came out after an hour. As for what happened in the bathroom, Mu Qiqi's red face could explain it. After a while, Mu Qiqi fell asleep in Xing Xiao's arms. As for Xing Xiao, he thought that he would have to meet Lu Wenhua first tomorrow. The next morning, Xing Xiao went back to Huangyao first. Jing Yun received a call from Lu Wenhua. It was a formal call. It seemed that Lu Wenhua was serious about it. Young master, you have half an hour during lunch break. You can meet Principal Lu. Arrange a place where people won't notice. Remind me when I meet him, Xing Xiao answered. Understood. Jing Yun made the arrangements. It was a cafe opposite Huangyao. During lunch break, Xing Xiao went to the cafe. When he saw Lu Wenhua, he did not wait for him to speak. Xing Xiao said, Are you looking for me because of Qiqi? It seems that young Master Xing already knows about it. I've arranged someone to watch you in the villa. He saw your whereabouts, Xing Xiao answered straightforwardly. Lu Wenhua frowned when he saw that. He asked Xing Xiao, You and Qiqi, I thought that you already understand. Young Master Sheng, why? You know that nothing will happen between you and Qiqi. She is still a child. If you treat her like this, what will happen to her when you two separate in the future? Let's not talk about the feud between your two families. Even if there is no grudge between you two, how can anyone enter the Xing family just because they want to? Lu Wenhua questioned Xing Xiao directly. But, Xing Xiao was very calm. There was even a smile at the corner of his mouth. Since you came to me, it means that your feelings for Aunt Zipei are real, Xing Xiao replied. Now, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Qiqi? I, Xing Xiao, never hide my private affairs. You should know that, Principal Lu. But, Qiqi did not want Aunt Zipei to be sad and worried. So, we did not reveal our relationship to the public. How dare you reveal it to the public? The Xing family can eat Qiqi. How do you know that I can't protect Qiqi, Principal Lu? Xing Xiao looked at Lu Wenhua firmly and asked. She is mine. Since I approve of her, I will not let anyone hurt her. You say it so easily now. But, in the future, your parents will pressure you. Do you think that I am someone who relies on my parents? Even if you are very capable, what if your parents threaten you? What if your father threatens you with death? After listening to Lu Wenhua's words, Xing Xiao could not help but laugh. Principal Lu, you must have read too many romance novels. I believe that you have heard about me before. As long as I have set my eyes on someone or something, no one can touch it unless they step over my body. Moreover, what is done cannot be undone. Chi-Chi and I are indeed together. It is the truth whether you accept it or not, Principal Lu. When the time is right, I will tell Aunt Zipe. If you don't want her to get hurt, you better listen to me. Actually, Lu Wenhua knew that he could not change anything by coming to Xingxiao today. But, he did not expect that Xingxiao would admit it so easily. I have something to do in the afternoon. Sorry, I cannot accompany you. Then, Xingxiao stood up and left Lu Wenhua. At this time, Jing Yun said something to Lu Wenhua. In the beginning, I was the same as you. I strongly opposed it. But, in the end, I could not win against young master's persistence. I am not asking you to rest assured. I can only tell you that I cannot guarantee that Miss Mu will not get hurt. But, I can guarantee that young master will bear all the pain that Miss Mu suffers. Chapter 96. Xingxiao had said it just now. What was done could not be undone. Could it be that Lu Wenhua did not understand the meaning of these words? Moreover, they went out at night and came back the next morning. Even if Xingxiao did not say it, Lu Wenhua would know that Mu Chi-Chi and Xingxiao were inseparable now. He did not think that he could change anything. He just wanted to know what Xingxiao was thinking and how he was going to help Mu Chi-Chi settle down in the future. Lu Wenhua felt terrible when he saw the current situation. He had to think from Su Zipei's point of view. Principal Lu, if there is nothing else, please leave. Lu Wenhua took a deep breath, stood up and left the cafe. Then, he drove to the small mansion. But Mu Chi-Chi was not at home. Why are you here at this time? Have you had lunch? No. Lu Wenhua shook his head. Then, I will cook for you. Just wait for a while. Lu Wenhua did not want to eat Su Zipei's food. He just wanted to give her a chance to talk. But he did not want to do it on purpose. So, he sat down at the dining table and saw Su Zipei serving him a bowl of noodle soup. He could not help but remind her. It is not safe outside these days. You and Mu Chi-Chi should not go out at night. We usually sleep at around 10 o'clock. Why should we go out at night? Su Zipei was anxious when she saw that he wanted to say something. What do you want to say? Nothing. You had a fever last time. When I left, I heard some rustling sounds. I don't know if it was a rat or a thief. You should be careful at night. Lu Wenhua said and focused on eating his noodles. Because he could not tell Su Zipei directly. But he could not say nothing either. He could only remind Su Zipei. He hoped that she would notice the relationship between Mu Chi-Chi and Xingxiao. I know. Su Zipei did not care. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the education department announced Mu Chi-Chi's final exam result. She got a total of 731 points. It was higher than her previous score of 724 points. Of course, the education department monitored her entire exam. They did not give her any special privileges. The education department also posted her questions on the internet so that people could compare the answers. Although it was a series of actions to clear Mu Chi-Chi's name, Mu Chi-Chi had already applied to study forensic science. Just as Xingxiao expected, after Mu Chi-Chi's results were exposed, the matter of exchanging test papers that had just died down was brought up again. Mu Group's shares had been affected several times and they had suffered huge losses. Papa Mu could not stand it any longer, and so arranged to meet with his lawyer and Mu Chi-Chi so that Mu Chi-Chi could speak up as soon as possible. 10% of Mu Group's shares was not a small amount. However, Papa Mu knew that the loss of Mu Group would be more severe if he delayed any longer. That was when Mu Tangxue suggested that she would go with her lawyer. As long as she apologized to Mu Chi-Chi would forgive the Mu family faster. Papa Mu thought about it and did not stop her. Since he had promised to restore Mu Tangxue's status as the daughter of the Mu family, he would give her that chance. That was why Mu Tangxue and the Mu family's lawyer went to the little mansion together. Su Zipei quickly asked the Mu family's lawyer when she saw Mu Tangxue. Why is she here? Miss Mu, I'm here to apologize. It's okay, Aunt Zipe. Mu Chichi said to Su Zipe. Now that my results are out and the share transfer agreement has been delivered, you don't have to be afraid of her. Why should I be afraid of her? I'm just worried that you will feel uncomfortable. Su Zipe snorted. I didn't expect that the Mu family would forgive her so soon. That's not surprising. After all, Mu Tangxue can't scold her for the rest of her life. She won't be satisfied with that. It was Mu Tangshue's first time entering the little mansion. What other reason could she have for coming to Mu Chichi's new home? She just wanted to see if she could find any clues from the little mansion. She wanted to see if the man behind Mu Chichi had left any traces in the little mansion. Miss Mu, the share transfer agreement will be completed after you sign it here, the lawyer reminded Mu Chichi. Aunt Zipe, please sign it. Mu Chichi pulled Su Zipe and said, I'll give you the 10% shares. Chichi. Su Zipe was stunned. Aunt Zipe, this is my gift to you. Sign it now so that we don't have to trouble the lawyer to transfer the shares. Mu Chichi said to Su Zipe. You've helped me and taken care of me. You deserve it. But, Aunt Zipe, it's useless for me to hold the shares now. Mu Chichi glanced at Mu Tangxue, who was sitting beside the lawyer when she said that. She realized that Mu Tangxue had put away her bad habit of acting after the blow. She was much quieter now. However, she did not think that Mu Tangshue's quietness was a sign of regret. She was thinking and plotting a scheme. Su Zipe thought about it again and again. Finally, she signed it. I'm just keeping it for you temporarily. Mu Chichi had no intention of taking it back since she had given it to Mu Tangxue. She just wanted the Mu family to pay the price and make them suffer. Then, Mu Tangxue stood up and said to Mu Chichi, Sister, I'm sorry. It was my fault in the past. I hope you can forgive me. Whether I forgive you or not, we won't have anything to do with each other anymore. You can be your mistress and I'll study in my university. I'll learn my lesson in the future. You don't have to say why you're here. We both know that you're not the second young lady who likes to pretend to be pitiful, and I'm not the scapegoat who gets bullied. From now on, I just hope that you won't mess with me. I'll remember that. Mu Tangxue did not refute a single word, appearing very obedient. However, Mu Chichi would not fall for that. Since you've remembered it, you can leave now, sister. Before I leave, can I visit your room? Mu Chichi sneered and nodded. Sure. Then, the two sisters entered Mu Chichi's room one after the other. Mu Tangxue looked around after she entered the room and said, It's better for you to be here than at the Mu family. What clues did you find? Can you find my wild man now? Mu Chichi asked in return. Be careful if you want to find him. I'll be in your care in the future, sister. The meaning behind Mu Tangshue's words was clear. She would not let Mu Chichi off so easily, and would definitely bite her to death. Even so, Mu Chichi was not afraid. Bring it on. I've chosen forensics anyway. If you feed someone the wrong medicine in the future, we'll have corpses to talk. Mu Tangxue looked up at Mu Chichi. The girl's change was certainly surprising. Sister, that man has changed you too much. Chapter 97. Xing Xiao only gave Mu Chichi the courage to fight back. But, if Mu Tangxue did not hurt her again and again, Mu Chichi thought that she would not have so many troubles at the age of 18. Soon, Mu Tangxue left the small mansion with the Mu family's lawyer. Meanwhile, Su Zipe asked Mu Chichi, What did you two talk about? Aunt, I will not be wronged again. You can be sure about that. But, you have given me all your shares. Giving them to you is more useful than giving them to me. Then, you won't feel that you are trying to climb up the social ladder with Uncle Lu. Mu Chichi smiled. Su Zipe took a deep breath and patted Mu Chichi's head. You have changed a lot in these few months. I can't keep up with you anymore. Aunt, I have just grown up. But, I still need Uncle Lu's help to speak for Mu Group. I know what to do. Also, the lawyer said that she can be released on bail until the trial. Aunt, I will have to trouble you with her. I don't want to see her. Muchichi knew who Su Zipei was talking about. The first thing Mama Mu would do after she was released from the detention center would be to divorce Papa Mu. So, Muchichi just wanted to watch the drama unfold. She could not see anything like family love from Mama Mu. Okay, I know. Everything went smoothly. But, Lu Wenhua did not expect that Muchichi would give all the shares of Mu Group to Su Zipei without holding anything back. Aside from Xing Xiao, Muchichi and Su Zipei were truly relying on each other. Even so, he was still worried that Su Zipei would be hurt if she found out about it. Su Zipei kept Lu Wenhua's words in mind. She thought that there was something going on in the middle of the night. So, she listened carefully. Because of that, she saw Muchichi going out at 11 o'clock at night. She saw Muchichi going out. But, she did not know where she was going or who she was meeting. Although Muchichi had gone out before, it was to buy snacks. But this time, Su Zipei realized that Muchichi did not come home until 1 in the morning. She could have found out where Muchichi was with just a phone call, but she would be fooled if Muchichi came up with some other excuse. That was why she simply said nothing. Muchichi did not know that Su Zipei had found out about her going out after Lu Wenhua's reminder. After all, she would go to her new home at night even if it was stormy. Because that was the only time she could be with Xing Xiao. After hearing about what happened during the day, Xing Xiao put Muchichi on the washstand and leaned between her legs. He looked at her and said, "Since it's over, do you want to go out and play for a few days?" "Can I?" Muchichi asked, hooking her arms around his neck. "I'll arrange it." Then, he buried his head in her neck and kissed her earlobe, the earlobe with his name tattooed on it. Muchichi fell into Xing Xiao's arms and let him do whatever he wanted. After a while, they were back on the big bed. Although they did not have their first night, and Xing Xiao was waiting patiently, it was inevitable that the two of them would be intimate now that they had broken through that boundary. But they did not take the last step. Lying on the bed, Xing Xiao looked at Muchichi and lifted her chin. "Little one, you haven't smiled for a long time. Why don't you smile?" "How can I smile now?" Muchichi hooked her arms around Xing Xiao's neck. "Why? What are you not satisfied with?" Xing Xiao asked. Muchichi got up and kissed Xing Xiao's Adam's apple. Then, she lay down again. "I just want to be with you. But I am afraid that I will know more about the Xing family." "That is not what you should think about now. When the time is right, I will arrange for you to meet the Xing family. But not now." Xing Xiao caressed Muchichi's cheek with his finger and promised her. "I promise that I will let you subdue them one by one." "Isn't it too early to say that?" Muchichi did not want to hold on to her expectations so soon. Xing Xiao lowered his head and kissed Muchichi's thin lips. "I just don't want you to be afraid." Then, the bedside lamp was switched off. In the dark, there was nothing but the sound of their kissing. Love and comfort were necessary. But in the end, Xing Xiao cared about Muchichi's body. Even if the pain was coming sooner or later, he had to follow the doctor's advice and do it step by step. He would first adjust Muchichi's state every time they were intimate. It was good for her. After midnight, Muchichi slept in Xing Xiao's arms. Even in the summer, Muchichi did not want to let go of his hands. Xing Xiao was sweating all over, but he let her be. "Xiao Xiao. I am so hot. Turning on the air conditioner will lower your immune system. It is not good for your body." That being said, the great crown prince of Huang Yao did not mean what he said. He did it just so that Muchichi could sleep comfortably. How could he not spoil his little one? "I want to go out and play with you," Muchichi said in her sleep. "I think you are fantasizing about me." But was the matter with the Mu family really resolved? It seemed not. The next morning, Mama Mu was released from the detention center after being released on bail. Even if Su Zipei did not want to see her, she still waited for her at the door. After all, Mama Mu had nowhere else to go. I have arranged a place for you to stay. You can keep using the lawyer since you want to sue Muchichi. Zipei, I still want to see Muchichi. But Muchichi does not want you to see her. Su Zipei answered straightforwardly. She is going to university soon. She does not want to have anything to do with the Mu family. But there is something I want to tell her. Mama Mu's expression was solemn. I am too selfish, you can tell me what you want to say. Mama Mu glanced at Su Zipei. She was about to speak, but swallowed her words. Su Zipei glanced at Mama Su. She found her expression strange, but she did not ask. It was just that once this secret was made public, many things would change. Especially Muchichi's future. Still, Mu Tangxue had promised Papa Mu that she would settle Mama Mu's divorce once Mama Mu was released. There was no telling if she could wait until the secret was revealed. Chapter 98. After settling Mama Mu down, Su Zipei returned to the small mansion. She did not tell Muchichi that she saw Muchichi going out. She did everything as usual. She waited until Muchichi left the house at 11 o'clock at night. She followed Muchichi quietly. When she saw Muchichi getting into Sheng Zhao's car, she took a few steps back. Suddenly, she understood why Lu Wenhua asked her to be careful. He must have seen Muchichi and Sheng Zhao leaving the house. Then, she remembered what Mu Tangxue told her about Muchichi's secret meeting with a man at night. It turned out that Muchichi and Sheng Zhao had been going on a secret date before that. But she did not know about it. Chi-chi. Young Master Sheng. Su Zipei covered her chest and went back to the mansion. She sat in the living room. Her mind was in a mess. She had never thought that Muchichi would fall in love with her savior. Then, Su Zipei called Lu Wenhua. She knew that Muchichi would not come back that night. Lu Wenhua thought that something important had happened to Su Zipei when he received the call. But when he entered the small mansion and sat opposite Su Zipei, he saw that Su Zipei looked very serious. She seemed to be in a state of shock. Did Muchichi go out? You saw it. That's why you told me, right? Su Zipei raised her head and asked Lu Wenhua. I don't want you to be kept in the dark, Lu Wenhua replied. These two kids, Su Zipei's hands were trembling. But she forced herself to calm down. You didn't tell anyone, right? Why would I tell anyone about this? Lu Wenhua replied. I'm just worried that you'll get hurt. I will handle this. It has nothing to do with you. Please don't make decisions on your own in the future, Su Zipei said to Lu Wenhua. Zipei, after such a long time, I thought that I had entered your heart. Don't you understand what I'm doing? Lu Wenhua was a little hurt by Su Zipei's tough words. I really don't understand you now. It doesn't matter what Chi-Chi has done. It doesn't matter if she is hiding it from me. As her aunt, I will stand by her side unconditionally. If you are not a like-minded person, then I will not continue to be with you. Su Zipei said to Lu Wenhua seriously, even if you are in my heart, I have to be sure that you will not hurt Chi-Chi. Zipei, Chi-Chi is like my own daughter. How could I hurt her? Su Zipei looked at him seriously. Both of them looked at each other for a long time. Finally, Su Zipei nodded. If that's the case, no matter what happens in the future, I hope that you'll stand on our side and protect us. As for the other matters, I will naturally deal with them. Lu Wenhua did not mind it at all. The Xing family is a dangerous place. If we don't stand by Chi-Chi's side, she will lose all her confidence. Do you know where they went? There's a villa area near Enchanting University. The person I hired tonight has just reported to me. Young Master Sheng should have bought some property there. I want to go in, can you think of a way? Su Zipei asked Lu Wenhua. Although Lu Wenhua was surprised why Su Zipei wanted to go in, he still nodded and agreed. I I will try my best. Actually, it was not difficult to understand. For Su Zipei, she had to protect Mu Qiqi in front of others. But it was an indisputable fact that Mu Qiqi and Xing Xiao had lied to her. She naturally had to settle this matter and vent her anger at Mu Qiqi. Otherwise, it would be extremely embarrassing if someone else used this matter or if the Xing family found out about it and she knew nothing about it. As for the other matters, she would only know after she met the two of them. Mu Qiqi and Xing Xiao lived together secretly in the small house. Of course, it was not the style of the crown prince of Huangyao. But because Mu Qiqi cared about it, he had to be careful. The next day, at 5:00, the two of them woke up together. But when they walked out of the villa, they saw Su Zipei standing in front of their villa. Mu Qiqi was stunned. She wanted to let go of Xing Xiao's right hand, but it was too late. She stopped moving. When Su Zipei saw the two of them walking out of the villa, she closed her eyes and cried. How could you do this? How could you? Aunt Zipei. Mu Qiqi was both afraid and apprehensive. Su Zipei walked to the two of them with tears streaming down her face. Xing Xiao said to Mu Qiqi, go and open the door. Su Zipei followed Mu Qiqi into the living room. Then, she sat on the sofa and covered her face, crying. Mu Qiqi squatted in front of Su Zipei and held her hand with trembling hands. Aunt, please hit me. As a result, Su Zipei really punched her. How can you be so bold? You are living together with a man. Aunt, I like Xiao Xiao. I don't want to let him go. So. I want to tell you, but I am afraid that you will object. I am so afraid. You said that Xiao Xiao is our savior. I am so afraid. You said that I can't be a match for him. Seeing Mu Qiqi kneeling on the floor, Su Zipei could not bear it. I am afraid because I feel sorry for you. Do you know what kind of family the Xing family is? Aunt, I am not afraid. Since you are not afraid of this, why are you afraid to tell me? Su Zipei sighed deeply. Do you know how sad I am? Aunt. I am sorry. Xing Xiao was standing behind them. But he knew that Su Zipei did not mean to make things difficult for Mu Qiqi. Moreover, Lu Wenhua stopped him from speaking for Mu Qiqi. So, he just stood aside. He knew that Mu Qiqi cared a lot about this aunt of hers. She stood up from the sofa and walked around the villa. When she saw that the villa was filled with the smell of the two of them, she could not help but burst into tears. When she arrived at the kitchen, she saw that it was clean and tidy. She turned around and said, don't sneak around in the future. It's bad for your health to wake up at 5 in the morning. Also, both of you don't know how to cook. You should go home and eat. Mu Qiqi nodded and said, don't sneak around in the future. Aunt, Qiqi, you used to be timid and cowardly, and I was afraid that you would be taken advantage of. But after this period of time, I can see that you have changed. So, I will not interfere with your decisions. But, no matter how difficult it is to say, you must tell me in the future. I don't know how the Xing family is and I don't want to know. But, if young Master Xing cannot protect you, you still have me. I can help you and protect you. Just don't hide it from me like today. Can you do that? Chapter 99. The two of them hugged each other and cried for a long time. It was only after much difficulty that they stopped, and Su Zipei led Mu Qiqi to Xing Xiao. Young Master Xing, may I have a word with you alone? Mu Qiqi asked. Xing Xiao pulled Mu Qiqi closer to him and wiped her tears. Then, he brought Su Zipei into the study and closed the door. Young Master Xing, are you just playing with Mu Qiqi or? Xing Xiao crossed his arms and leaned against the desk. He answered Su Zipei, I am serious. But you know, the Xing family, if I am not confident, I will not expose her in front of everyone. Even if it is the Xing family, I can still help her. Xing Xiao answered Su Zipei. He was not as lazy, devilish or playful as he used to be. He was very serious. But, why Muchichi? There is no why. It is her. There is no one else. Suzupe wiped away her tears and nodded. All right, since you have decided to be together, I will do my best to protect Chi-Chi. But, young Master Sheng, I have something to tell you. If Chi-Chi is hurt one day, I will fight you to the death. Suzupe nodded and said, that's right. You will not have that chance. After they finished talking, they walked out of the study one after another. Muchichi went up to them. Aunt, Xiao, all right, you should rest. The sun is not up yet. Let's talk tomorrow. Suzupe waved at them. Lu Wenhua went forward and held Suzupe's shoulder. They did not stay in the villa for long. Muchichi watched them leave. But, she could not do anything. She knew that her aunt still needed time to digest. Seeing her standing at the door in a daze, Xing Xiao reached out to Muchichi and pulled her into his arms. Why? Do you feel guilty now? Aunt does not blame me. She is a righteous person. But, after Xing Xiao heard this, he carried her horizontally and placed her on the piano table behind him. Then, he covered her with his tall body. You have a good aunt. I know. Soon, Xing Xiao's kiss landed, and her clothes fell to the ground. If that's the case, I'll *CK you today, here? What? You still want to pick? Before Muchichi could say anything else, her chin was lifted, and Xing Xiao's warm palm moved down her spine. Her body was so sensitive that she couldn't help leaning back. The pain from that night was incomparably clear, but she did not flinch. She clung to his shoulders with both hands. When Xing Xiao saw that, he picked her up by the waist and quickly returned to the bedroom. Then, he took out a condom. Muchichi blushed and looked away. At the same time, she was very afraid because she knew how unforgettable the pain was. Seizing the opportunity, Xing Xiao lifted her chin and stared at her with his beautiful eyes. Can't concentrate? Xiao. Muchichi called out softly. Perhaps she herself did not know that her voice was trembling and begging for mercy. It was no different from an aphrodisiac that struck straight at a man's heart. Xiao, what's the hurry? Xing Xiao smiled mischievously when he heard Muchichi's soft cry. After that, he did not hold back and expressed his feelings with intense actions and words. It was 8:00 in the morning when she woke up. Muchichi was relieved when she saw that Xing Xiao had not left yet. He was still asleep. Beneath his messy hair was a perfect face that captivated and mesmerized people. Muchichi blushed when she remembered what happened just now. She wanted to get up, but her legs were weak and she almost rolled off the bed. Fortunately, Xing Xiao reached out and caught her. Muchichi fell into Xing Xiao's arms and stuck herself to his burning body, not daring to move. Hungry? Xing Xiao asked over Muchichi's head. Yeah. Muchichi nodded. I want to pack up and go back to see Aunt Sipe. Xing Xiao opened his eyes and looked down at Muchichi. Then, he rolled over and wrapped her in the blanket before carrying her over his shoulder. Xiao. Muchichi was shocked. Congratulations on becoming my woman. Xing Xiao moved closer to Muchichi and teased her. You have taken my first time. You have to take responsibility. When did I say that I won't take responsibility? I'll say the ugly words first. I think I have the potential to be a pervert. I might want you anywhere, and when that happens, you won't be able to take it. You just like to bully me. Muchichi could not help biting Xing Xiao's nose. I know you're just scaring me. What if that's true? Muchichi looked at his half-smiling face. Her heart raced and she was afraid that she would sink deeper into it. She quickly pushed him away. Aren't you going to work? Xing Xiao sneered and did not say anything else. Instead, he put her in the bathtub and cleaned her up. Muchichi enjoyed Xing Xiao's service and felt the discomfort in her body disappearing bit by bit. She was finally Xing Xiao's, and Xing Xiao belonged to her alone. Xing Xiao, the crown prince, was hers. After washing up, Xing Xiao sent Mu Qiqi back to the small villa. Then, he went back to Huangyao. Mu Qiqi thought about what happened in the morning. She felt sad, especially when she saw Su Zipei. "Aunt, since you've made your choice, you must be loyal to it." "I understand." Su Zipei smiled at Mu Qiqi. "Thank you, Aunt. Moreover, I've promised Wenhua that we'll get along and see if we can become a family." "Really?" In fact, Su Zipei did this not only because she had feelings for Lu Wenhua, but also because she had other plans. She wanted to help Mu Qiqi gain some background. She could not have nothing. Who knew what would happen to the Xing family in the future? Lu Wenhua knew that she had such thoughts. But, he did not object. After all, it was enough for him to protect the person he loved. "Come and have breakfast. I still have to go to the hotel to deal with that woman. She seemed to have a secret to tell me. But, she did not say it out loud. I'll ask her today." Chapter 100. Su Zipei arrived at the hotel in the morning. She saw Mama Mu packing her luggage. She asked, "Do you have a plan?" "I spoke to Mu Qiqi last night. He asked me to go to him today to discuss the terms of the divorce. If everything goes well, I want to go abroad after I finish my sentence," Mama Mu said to Su Zipei. "What's the point of staying here now that my family is gone? She could start afresh after she went abroad. It was a good place to go." However, Su Zipei did not forget her purpose of coming to the hotel today. "Yesterday, you wanted to say something but stopped. What did you want to say to me?" Mama Mu stopped what she was doing when she heard Su Zipei's question. She turned around and looked at Su Zipei. "What secret do I have to tell you? I know you. Don't you look like you have a secret now?" Mama Mu chuckled and sighed. "Zipei, I know you care about Mu Qiqi. So, I can't tell you my secret now even if I have it. I'll give you an explanation after I get the divorce. Then I'll wait. Are you going to the Mu family?" "Don't worry. I have my lawyer with me. Everything will be fine. I've had enough of that man. After being married for so many years, Papa Mu always asked her to behave herself. Otherwise, he would scold and beat her. She had endured it for so many years. Now, it was the end. All right then. After all, it was a private matter between Mama Mu and the Mu family. She could not force herself to stay by Mama Mu's side. Moreover, even if she was worried about Mama Mu might not appreciate it. After all, no matter how much the Mu family had done wrong, Mama Mu had never done anything wrong. "I'm leaving now." Mama Mu brought her lawyer to the Mu family's house. Mama Mu hesitated when she saw the familiar house. But, she still walked in. Papa Mu was sitting on the sofa in the living room. There was the divorce agreement on the coffee table in front of him. Mu Group had just started to improve. He did not want to waste his time on Mama Mu. After all, he had given her 10% of the company's shares so that she could speak up for Mu Group. "After being married for so many years, I think I owe you something. So, here's the check. You can fill in the amount you want. I won't complain." Mama Mu could not believe it. She never thought that Papa Mu would be so easy to negotiate with. But the check on the table and the divorce agreement were all signed. Papa Mu was not lying this time. Could it be that he still had feelings for Mama Mu? Actually, that was not the case. After Mama Mu called Papa Mu last night, Mu Tangxue told Papa Mu, "Dad, you can agree to whatever request that woman makes tomorrow. Then, you'll go on a business trip and leave the rest to me. What if you fail again?" Papa Mu clearly did not trust Mu Tangxue enough. Believe me, she won't be able to take a single cent. It was precisely because of that conversation that Papa Mu was being so generous. He rose to his feet when he saw that Mama Mu was not moving. We've been husband and wife for so many years, and I don't want to see you leave with my own eyes. That's why I'm leaving first. I'm going overseas for a business trip. Mama Moo never expected that Papa Moo would be so understanding. Could it be that he really owed her something? She thought that Papa Moo was scheming, but he really left the house. Mama Moo looked at the divorce agreement and the check, and turned to the lawyer doubtfully. If that's the case, it's a good thing. You don't have to trouble the lawyer. If that's the case, I'll leave first. You can pack your things, the lawyer told Mama Moo. All right, we'll contact each other if there's any problem. Mama Moo was not on guard because Papa Moo had already left. Then, she went into her bedroom to pack her things, when she heard movement from Moo Tangshue's room upstairs. Mama Moo cautiously went upstairs, and found Moo Tangshue sitting on the floor, her body covered in wounds and her face in pain. Moo Tangshue quickly threw herself into Mama Moo's arms when she saw her. Mommy. Mommy, you're finally back. Daddy is going to beat me to death. Please take me away. She remembered that her daughter had been trying to make her a scapegoat when she was detained. Mama Moo quickly pushed her away. I'm not your mother anymore. I've divorced that man. Moo Tangshue was in disbelief. She knelt on the floor and hugged Mama Moo's legs, begging, Mommy, don't go, please. Stay with me. Shwap. I'm not a member of the Moo family anymore. Just tonight, just tonight. Stay with me. Daddy's on a business trip and I'm scared. Moo Tangshue hugged Mama Moo's legs and would not let go no matter what. Mama Moo's heart softened at that. I'll leave tomorrow morning. Moo Tangshue hugged Mama Moo's legs and burst into tears when she got a response. Mama Moo helped her to bed when she saw her in pain. She took care of her as she always did, but she was not a member of the Moo family after all. You'll be alone in the Moo family from now on. Be careful. Mommy, you don't want me anymore. You don't want me anymore. Moo Tangshue was sobbing pitifully, which was why Mama Moo stayed by her side and took care of her for the whole day. It was fortunate that the man had gone on a business trip. Otherwise, she would not have stayed in the house for a second. If not for that man's conscience and did not make things difficult for her after the divorce, she would have ignored Moo Tangshue no matter how miserable she was. When night fell, Su Zipei called Mama Moo to ask why she did not return to the hotel. Mama Moo told Su Zipei that everything was going smoothly. She would pack her things and leave the Moo family early the next morning. Su Zipei told Mama Moo to be careful because she knew that the father and daughter of the Moo family were not easy to deal with. Mama Moo nodded in agreement. But she did not know that she would not survive the night in the Moo family. Moo Tangshue stayed in bed for the whole day because she had been abused too much. After Mama Moo made her dinner, she returned to the room where she had lived with the man for decades and packed her things. Everything appeared to be fine, but the entire mansion was engulfed in thick smoke in the middle of the night. The neighbors quickly called the police, and the firefighters arrived 20 minutes later. Moo Tangshue was calling for help from the second floor, and the firefighters quickly took action. They had her jump down from the second floor, and someone would come to her rescue. The fire was so fierce that Moo Tangshue hesitated several times. Fortunately, everyone tried their best to dissuade her, and she finally jumped out of the window. But she fainted when she reached the ground. Chapter 101. When Su Zipei received the call, it was not even 4 in the morning. She was surprised to receive a call from the hospital. But when the doctor mentioned Su Ziqing's name, Su Zipei's heart skipped a beat. Because there was only one thought in her mind. It's over. At the moment, Mu Qiqi was in her new home. She was very restless in her dreams. Xing Xiao was woken up by her waving hands. Seeing that she was sweating, he propped himself up and hugged her in his arms. Little one, you can't be honest even in your dreams. Su Zipei called Mu Qiqi while rushing to the hospital. Xing Xiao saw his phone screen flickering. He got up and picked it up. Aunt Ziki? Young Master Sheng, bring Mu Qiqi to the hospital. Hurry, her mother is dying. Which hospital? Kang Sheng. Xing Xiao hung up and turned to look at Mu Qiqi, who was sleeping on the bed. Suddenly, he understood why Mu Qiqi had nightmares. It was because mother and son were connected. Then, he put on his clothes and put Mu Qiqi on his shoulder. He did that so that she could sleep a little longer. At the moment, in the emergency department of Kangsheng Hospital, Mu Tangxue had already woken up. The first thing she did when she woke up was to ask the medical staff. "Where's my mommy? Did you manage to save my mommy?" Miss, don't worry." The nurse quickly comforted her. "How can I not worry? The fire is so big that I can't find her." "Your mother is being resuscitated," the nurse replied. "You have inhaled carbon monoxide too. You need to rest." Mu Tangxue struggled to get up. But Su Zipei had already stormed into the emergency room angrily. "Mu Tang Shui Aunt Zipei." Mu Tangxue choked. She felt terrible. "Don't tell me that you don't know why there was a fire in your house." "Aunt Zipei, I really don't know." "I really, cough, family member, don't agitate the patient." The nurse advised Su Zipei. "If there's anything, please investigate it first." Su Zipei looked at Mu Tangxue. She looked at her hateful face and gritted her teeth. "If I find out that you have something to do with this, I won't let you go." "Aunt Zipei, I'm really innocent." Mu Tangxue defended herself. Even if she had done something, she wouldn't have been so heavy-handed. Both men were arguing in the emergency room when Mu Qiqi woke up in Xing Zhao's sports car, surprised at her surroundings. "Xiao Xiao, the clothes are in the back. Put them on and get out of the car," Xing Xiao told Mu Qiqi. Mama Mu was caught in the fire. "I don't know if she's alive or dead." Mu Qiqi's eyes widened when she heard the second half of his words. She quickly picked up her clothes from the back seat and put them on. "You go find Auntie, I'll deal with the aftermath." Before she got out of the car, he reached out and held her hand. "No matter what happens, I'll be here, okay?" "I know." Mu Qiqi quickly got out of the car and met Su Zipei at the entrance of the emergency room. "Qiqi, Aunt, what's the situation now?" Su Zipei grabbed Mu Qiqi's arm and shook her head. "It's not looking good. I told her not to stay in the Mu family, but she didn't listen to me. Now it's all over." Mu Qiqi couldn't tell what she was feeling. Even if Mama Mu had treated her badly before, even if she didn't treat her like her own daughter, she was still her mother. She was still her family. "I couldn't get through to that man. I called the people from Mu Group and they said that the scumbag had gone abroad." Mu Tangxue. In the emergency room. "Humph," Su Zipei snorted. They went to the operating room and waited for about 2 hours. Then, the police came to the door. Su Zipei quickly asked the police, "How did the fire start?" "Preliminary investigation. The fire was not turned off in the kitchen. There was still some food on the stove. The fire spread from the first floor to the living room and the master bedroom. Even so, they shouldn't have been hurt so badly. They had a phone and they could open the door and leave. Moreover, Mu Tangxue could be saved." "Don't worry, madam. Miss Mu's room was upstairs and it was far away from the fire. But she fainted after she was saved. The firefighters didn't know if there was anyone else in the villa. Moreover, the fire spread from the living room to the front door. Obviously, they couldn't get out. Most importantly, there was an explosion. Of course, this is only our preliminary investigation. We'll have to wait for the detailed investigation." Su Zipei signed on behalf of the Mu family. But she couldn't believe that Mu Tangxue had nothing to do with it. How could it be so coincidental? Mu Qiqi sat outside the operating room. She couldn't help texting Xing Xiao. "Xiao Xiao, have you left?" "Not far from you," Xing Xiao replied. Mu Qiqi looked up at the corridor. She saw Xingxiao sitting on a chair not far away. He was looking at her with a serious face. Mu Qiqi was relieved. Then, the doctor came out of the operating room. Su Zipei went up to him and grabbed his arm. "Doctor, how is my sister? We've tried our best. I'm sorry. Please go and see the patient for the last time," the doctor said apologetically to Su Zipei and Mu Qiqi. Su Zipei paused for a moment. Then, she ran into the operating room. Mu Qiqi followed behind her. But when they saw Mama Mu lying on the operating table, her whole body scorched, Su Zipei couldn't help but cover her mouth and cry. Mu Qiqi couldn't believe it. It was her mother. Zipei. Mama Mu was lying on the operating table and shouted with difficulty. "I'm here. I'm here." Su Zipei quickly went up to her. She could smell the burnt smell coming from Mama Mu's body. Her skin was festering. Her face was unrecognizable. An Shui might not be from the Mu family. Mama Mu tried her best to speak to Su Zipei. I don't know, whose child I'm pregnant with." Su Zipei could barely hear Mama Mu. She leaned closer to her. "Sister, don't talk. That man is Shen Jianchuan." Mama Mu tried her best to open her eyes. She said to Su Zipei, "You have to find out." Seeing that Mama Mu didn't have the strength to speak anymore, Su Zipei quickly pulled Mu Qiqi to her. Qiqi is here. Qiqi is here. Sister. Qi. Mama Mu reached out her hand. But, she couldn't touch Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi stood in front of Mama Mu. Her eyes were filled with tears. In that very instant, she could not even keep her footing and stumbled backwards. But unexpectedly, Xingxiao's warm palms supported her body. Chapter 102. Xingxiao knew that Mu Tangxue was also in the hospital. But since he could not let her know about their relationship, Xingxiao simply closed the door to the operating room and let no one enter. Then, he held Mu Qiqi in his arms. Mu Qiqi tugged at Xingxiao's shirt and cried in his arms. She would never see this person again no matter how much she hated him. 2 of her family members had passed away at the age of 18, and one of them was her dearest relative. At that thought, Xingxiao hugged Mu Qiqi even tighter with his arms. Su Zipei turned to see Mu Qiqi crying. She slowly stopped crying and patted her shoulder. "Your mother is so badly hurt. Even if she survives, it would be a fate worse than death. It's better to leave, at least she won't have to suffer." Mu Qiqi nodded. "Apart from dealing with your mother's funeral, there's one more thing. We have to find out the truth behind the fire." Mu Qiqi struggled out of Xingxiao's arms. She stayed quiet for a few seconds before turning to Su Zipei. "Aunt Zipei, I want to see Mu Tangxue." Su Zipei understood what Mu Qiqi meant and looked at Xingxiao. Xingxiao looked down at Mu Qiqi and nodded. "Go. Be careful. I'll take care of the aftermath." Mu Qiqi let go of Xingxiao's waist and held Su Zipei instead. Like mother and daughter, they walked to the emergency room with the same anger. Meanwhile, Mu Tangxue was getting an intravenous drip. "Sister," Mu Qiqi did not give her a chance to speak. She dragged her from the bed and onto the floor. Mu Tangxue fell on the floor. Tears streamed down her face. She could not resist at all. The nurse quickly went up to Mu Qiqi and stopped her. "What are you doing? The patient is badly hurt." Mu Qiqi looked down at Mu Tangxue and pinched her chin. "It's just a serious injury. Why don't you just die?" Mu Tangxue was sobbing. It took her a long time to catch her breath. "Mommy, how is Mommy? You still have the cheek to ask." Mu Qiqi slammed Mu Tangxue's head against the wooden cabinet. When the nurse saw that, she quickly stepped forward and pushed Muchichi away. "I'll call the police if you do that again." Muchichi staggered and almost lost her balance. But when she regained her balance, she said, "Mommy has always been biased towards you. Even during the exchange of exam papers, she sacrificed a worthless person like me for you. Even if I hate her, I never thought of doing anything to her. On the other hand, you. She must have never thought that the person she loves the most would send her to hell with her own hands, right? Sister, what happened to Mommy really has nothing to do with me. No matter how cruel I am, I would never do anything to Mommy." Mu Tangxue cried. "You know very well whether you did it or not, but listen up, Mu Tangxue. You better promise me that no one will find any evidence, just like what happened to Grandma. Otherwise, I will definitely kill you." Mu Tangxue was sobbing uncontrollably. The nurse tried to help her up several times, but she could not stand up. But at this time, Muchichi said to her, "Aren't you going to see Mommy one last time? At least, I want you to remember Mommy's unrecognizable face. I want you to be afraid." Mu Tangxue struggled to stand up. With the help of the nurse, she slowly walked out of the emergency room. Muchichi and Su Zipei followed behind Mu Tangxue. The journey to the operating room felt like a century for her. Finally, they arrived at the door of the operating room. Mu Tangxue looked inside. When she saw Mama Mu lying on the bed, she was so scared that her legs went weak. She fell to the ground. "Mommy, you better remember Mommy's face now. Don't ever forget it." Muchichi was hysterical. Her face was red. Lu Wenhua came after her. He held Su Zipei's shoulder and stopped Muchichi. "Chichi, don't be so agitated. It's not worth it." Muchichi glared hatefully at Mu Tangxue, who was on the ground, and finally kept quiet. Before she left, she said one last thing to Mu Tangxue, "I'm afraid we can only be enemies in this life. But, the more you want to drag me to hell, the more I won't let you have your way. I'm happy. But what about you?" Mu Tangxue was sobbing on the ground. It was obvious that she was very sad. Lu Wenhua brought Muchichi and Su Zipei away when he saw that. After they left the hospital, Muchichi found the place where Xing Xiao parked his car. The two cars quickly went back to the small mansion. The two women were very sad. "Wenhua, about my sister's burial, can I leave it to me?" Lu Wenhua said to her. "Go and lie on the bed for a while." "Chichi," Su Zipei looked at Muchichi worriedly. But Lu Wenhua said to her, "Don't worry. Young Master Sheng is here. It's useless no matter what you say." Su Zipei nodded. She was very confused. Especially the secret that Mama Mu told her at the end. It was about Muchichi's identity. She had to find time to verify it. "Zipei, the dead are gone. You have to accept it. Don't worry. No matter how much I hate the Mu family, I won't be like them. Let's see what that bastard will say when he comes back." After that, Su Zipei went back to her room. Xing Xiao, who was standing behind Muchichi, carried her in his arms and walked out of the small mansion. Muchichi was in Xing Xiao's arms. She was lying on his chest. She was talking nonsense. "Xiao Xiao, you haven't had any peace ever since you got together with me, right?" Xing Xiao's handsome face was tense. He did not say anything. Instead, he brought Muchichi back to their new home as fast as he could. "Since you know that I haven't had any peace, you should make it up to me now." Xing Xiao carried Muchichi into the bedroom. He put her on the bed and tore her clothes. Muchichi did not resist. She just watched as the man pressed her down. Xing Xiao saw that she had no reaction. So, he carried her and put her on the dressing table. Muchichi had nowhere to vent her pain. She felt Xing Xiao's thrusting into her. So, she bit his shoulder. Xing Xiao did not stop. He did it again and again. He used all kinds of positions that he had never tried before. He left all kinds of marks on her body until she went limp and fainted. After that, Xing Xiao cleaned the marks on her body gently. Then, he put her on the bed and covered her with the blanket. "Little one, what should I do to make you not sad?" After a moment of silence, Xing Xiao said, "Sleep well. I will always be here." Because he knew that Muchichi was in trouble. But there was no way to comfort her when she lost her mother. Now, he just wanted Muchichi to sweat and have a good sleep. Chapter 103. On the other hand, Su Zipei was lying on the bed. Her face was pale and her eyes were filled with sadness. Lu Wenhua sat beside her bed. He held her hand and comforted her. "It has already happened. Don't think too much about it. You should think more about Muchichi. There was a time when I hated her so much. But now, she died a horrible death. Forget it. Let me help you lie down." Su Zipei nodded. She looked at Lu Wenhua. Suddenly, she remembered what Mama Mu told her before she died. She asked her to investigate Shenjianchuan. But, she knew nothing about Shenjianchuan. So, before she lay down, she asked Lu Wenhua, "Wenhua, do you know Shenjianchuan?" "Why not? He is the young master of the Shen family. He is a playboy. He used to be brothers with that bastard Mu. But, he got into trouble and got into a fight with someone. Then, he became a vegetable. Now, he is lying in the hospital. So, it is normal that you have never heard of him. Why are you asking about him?" "Nothing." Su Zipei shook her head. Then, she lay down. Although she did not know what happened between Mama Mu and Shen Jianchuan, she had to find out the truth since her sister had such a question. After Mama Mu's funeral, she would investigate the hospital where the man was admitted to. Then, she would find out about Muchichi's identity. "Have a good rest. I will take care of the hospital." "Thank you, Wenhua." Actually, she felt more at ease with this man by her side. At least, she had someone to rely on when something like this happened. A day had passed since the incident. Papa Mu rushed to the hospital in the evening, looking travel-worn. The mansion was burnt and Mama Mu was charred. The first thing Papa Mu did when he entered the hospital was to identify Mama Mu's body. Papa Mu looked serious when he saw the mutilated body. Then, he went to Mu Tangshue's ward. "Dad." Mu Tangxue ran to her father when she saw him. "It's okay, Shue." Papa Mu hugged Mu Tangxue and comforted her. "It's all over now. Mommy." "But mommy, I know. I know everything. I've gone to see your mommy." Papa Mu's eyes reddened. It was as if he could feel the pain and suffering of being a married couple for more than 10 years. "Your mommy is not blessed." "Sigh, Dad, I want to save mommy, but the door won't open." "Do you know what's going on?" "I can't open the door. Dad is on a business trip." "How could he know the details?" "We need to listen to the police's description." Papa Mu immediately defended himself. In fact, Mu Tangshue's question meant that she had thought about saving Mama Mu. She wanted to fulfill her wish, but all she wanted was for Mama Mu to be hurt. She never really wanted things to turn out like this. However, she could not open the door no matter how hard she tried. If it wasn't for her father, she really couldn't think of any other reason why things would turn out this way. However, she was the one who gave Papa Mu a perfect alibi. He had left the country. If this incident was determined to be an accident, then it would be fine. But if it was caused by someone, then it would be her responsibility. She never imagined that her father would be so ruthless. "It's fine. Everything is fine now." Mu Tangxue clenched her fists. She knew that staying by her father's side was like asking a tiger for its skin. If there was a conflict of interest, the man in front of her would definitely sacrifice himself. It seemed that she had to find evidence of her father's involvement in the fire. Otherwise, how could she escape? "I'll give your mother a proper burial," she's a pitiful person after all. I don't think Aunt Zipe would let us touch Mommy again. How could we? After all, we didn't divorce. Why did he not let Su Zipe touch Mama Mu's body? Wasn't it simple? He was afraid that Su Zipe would find out about the details. Therefore, even though Mu Tangxue and her father appeared to be a loving father and filial daughter, both of them were harboring their own agendas. Soon, Mu Tangxue left the hospital. When she arrived at the police station, the police handed Mama Mu's belongings to them. 2 rings and a pair of earrings. Take a look. Is there anything else? Mu Tangxue burst into tears at once. But, she took Mama Mu's belongings from the police. I'm sorry for your loss. The police are still investigating the cause of the accident. We'll give you an accurate answer when the time comes. Thank you, officer. Mu Tangxue took the rings. Then, the father and daughter went to Grandpa Mu's house. Grandpa Mu could not help but sigh when he heard that Mama Mu was burned to death. Grandpa Mu even called Papa Mu into his study. He asked him, how did Ziqing die? There was a fire in the house. I know that Ziqing asked you for a divorce. I heard that you agreed to it without hesitation. That's not your style. Did you know that Ziqing, father? Don't talk nonsense. Papa Mu interrupted Grandpa Mu. I just came back from Japan. Grandpa Mu snorted coldly. He pointed at Papa Mu's chest and said, if I find out that you're related to this incident, don't blame me for turning against you. Father, you've misunderstood me. Mu Tangxue was outside their study. She heard their conversation. Even Grandpa Mu did not believe in Papa Mu's innocence. Not to mention Mu Tangxue. But now, Mu Qiqi and Su Zipe were sure that she was the one who killed her mother. How could she prove her innocence? At that thought, Mu Tangxue clenched the relic in her hand, her mind recalling her mommy's burnt face. 1 day and 1 night passed. Mu Qiqi did not wake up even once. She only had nightmares and talked in her sleep. Xing Xiao stayed by her bedside for the whole day. Su Zipe rested for the whole morning. Then, she went to her new house. She found Xing Xiao in the study. They talked about some confidential matters. Young Master Sheng, I can't find anyone else to talk about this. I can only ask for your help. Tell me. Xing Xiao did not forget that he had made his niece unable to get out of bed. Do you know Shen Jianchuan? Shen Jianchuan? Of course I know him. The Shen family used to visit us when I was young. But he has been in a vegetative state for many years. Xing Xiao replied. Why do you ask? Is the Shen family close to the Xing family? Of course. According to seniority, I call Shen Jianchuan big brother. Qiqi might be Shen Jianchuan's daughter. Su Zipe could not care about anything else. She could only talk to Xing Xiao now. Xing Xiao's eyes widened when he heard that. Aunt Su, you can't joke about this. You should know that Mu Qiqi has to call me uncle if what you said is true. What? They are related by blood? Not really. It's just that the two families have always been close. Xing Xiao explained. That's good. So, the most important thing now is to find out if there is such a thing. Xing Xiao nodded at Su Zipe's words. I will find a chance to arrange it. But the truth was that if Mu Qiqi really had such a close relationship with the Shen family as Su Zipe said, he would be Mu Qiqi's uncle. He would not care if he was an uncle or a brother. He would just be a senior in the family. Chapter 104. But young Master Sheng, if Mu Tangxue really is a member of the Shen family, Mu Tangxue would definitely be one as well. If Mu Qiqi's identity is exposed, Mu Tangxue's identity would be exposed as well. Wouldn't it be the same as the Mu family then? Su Zipe was worried that Mu Qiqi would be treated the same way as the Mu family. But Xing Xiao shook his head. I know the Shen family. If Mu Qiqi is really a member of the Shen family, she would not be mistreated at all. I would teach Muchichi the personalities and taboos of the Shen family. Moreover, Grandpa Shen is a righteous man who is famous in the military. He would certainly be able to tell right from wrong. That's good. But not everyone in the Shen family is good. They would have to ask for my permission if they want to bully Muchichi. I'm relieved to hear that. What Suzipe was worried about was that the truth about her parentage was just the beginning of another nightmare for her. She would rather keep it a secret, and no one would be able to dig it out. I'll give you an answer in 3 days. After all, it would not be too much trouble for the Shen family to approach the Shen family. Then Muchichi, she's still sleeping. She hasn't woken up since she came back yesterday. Xing Xiao said nonchalantly. Suzipe was naturally relieved to leave Muchichi in Xing Xiao's care. Still, there was no telling what would happen to the child without Xing Xiao's support. If that's the case, I'm going back. Please take good care of Muchichi, young Master Sheng. I still have to go to the Mu family. Please go. Xing Xiao propped himself up and saw Su Zipe out of the mansion. Then, he gave Jing Yun a call. Jing Yun, go to the hospital and get Shen Jinchuan's hair. Make sure it's his. Young master, old master asked about you not coming back to Huangyao today. Jing Yun sounded the alarm. He might cause trouble for you. What? Haven't you gotten used to my personality after so many years? Xing Xiao snorted coldly. I'll handle it. Just do as I say. Hurry. Understood, young master. After the call, Xing Xiao returned to the bedroom and saw that Muchichi was still sleeping soundly. He found Muchichi's hair on the pillow and put it in a small transparent bag. Muchichi was completely unaware of everything that was happening before her, unaware that her life was about to change dramatically. After doing all this, Xing Xiao picked her up from the bed with the blanket. Only he knew how reluctant he was to part with her. However, it was better to be a member of the Shen family than the Mu family. It was the Shen family. As long as they did not expose their relationship, he could do whatever he wanted. It was better than being the daughter of the enemy, although it was not much better to be her uncle. Hence, Muchichi woke up in Xing Xiao's arms. She was puzzled when she saw that her body was suspended in the air. Xiao Xiao, what's wrong? Since you're awake, get up. Xing Xiao put her down and got up. However, when Muchichi tried to prop herself up, she found that her limbs were sore and weak. It was probably a side effect of having too much sex. Muchichi didn't expect that Xing Xiao would nibble her all over under such circumstances. I can't get up. At that moment, Muchichi's eyes were red and she looked shy. Moreover, she was naked, which made Muchichi feel even more embarrassed. Although Xing Xiao was very familiar with her body now. Xing Xiao smiled faintly and carried Muchichi over his shoulder. Then, he put her on the washstand. Muchichi was very repulsed, thinking that Xing Xiao was going to ask for her again. Xing Xiao laughed mockingly and pressed her shoulder. Do you think that I would still have the desire to sin when you look like this? Muchichi turned around and looked at herself in the mirror. Her body was covered in bruises. There was almost no part of her that was intact. Then, she thought of Mama Mu. Mommy, she's gone. She'll never come back. What you should think about now is to bury her well and send her on her last journey. Xing Xiao took off the towel and gently wiped Muchichi's face. I'll look down on you if you keep thinking about what's in the past and what's gone. Muchichi shook her head. Although she was upset, she knew very well that it was the Mu family who caused it. Where's Aunt Zipe? She went to meet the Mu family. I heard that they refused to let Aunt Su take your mother's body away. Xiao Xiao, send me there too. Muchichi's eyes suddenly became resolute. She could not do anything else because her power was limited, but she would not allow anyone from the Mu family to touch her mommy's body. Especially not Mu Tongxue. The Mu family's house had been burnt down. It could not be repaired in a short time. So, Su Zipei went to Mu Group directly. She wanted to meet Papa Mu directly. But the receptionist of Mu Group would not let her in. Papa Mu was guilty. Even if he was not, he would not let Su Zipei cause a scene in the company. So, Su Zipei could only contact Grandpa Mu. Because Mu Tongxue had no other place to hide now. She took a taxi to the Mu family's house. Su Zipei asked the guard to pass the message. She thought that Grandpa Mu might not want to see her. But, to her surprise, Grandpa Mu agreed to it. Mu Tongxue was staying in Grandpa Mu's house. She looked at Su Zipei. Both of them had complicated feelings. Zipei, I'm sorry about Ziqing. I'm sorry for your loss. Grandpa Mu sat in the middle of the living room and said to Su Zipei. Su Zipei walked up to Grandpa Sheng and bowed to him. Then, she said, I'm here today because of my sister's body. Since my sister and brother-in-law have divorced, we will naturally take my sister's body away and bury her properly. However, I heard that brother-in-law doesn't seem to be willing to give in. Zipei, I'm afraid I can't make the decision on this matter. Everyone in the Mu family abandoned my sister after the exchange of the exam papers. They even wanted my sister to be the scapegoat and take all the blame. Am I right? Su Zipei knew that Grandpa Mu would not give in easily. So, she could only bring up the past. My sister cried out in the detention center. But, the Mu family ignored her. In the end, it was my lawyer who helped my sister to get a lighter sentence. Is that right? That's right. But... Chapter 105. Grandpa Mu's expression changed when he heard that. He looked at Su Zipei in shock. It was an accident. Whether it was an accident or not, the police can investigate it thoroughly. And she... Su Zipei pointed at Mu Tongxue and said to Grandpa Mu, I believe that no one knows better than her what happened that night. It's just like how old Madam died in your bedroom in this house. She knows it too. Grandpa Mu nodded. The police can't pry her mouth open now. But one day, she will talk. By then, I look forward to the Mu family killing her again. Mu Tongxue's face turned pale when she heard the word, killing. Zipei, you have said so much based on your own speculation. Where is the evidence? Grandpa Mu pretended to be calm and looked at Su Zipei. If you don't have any evidence, don't you know that I can sue you for slander? You can sue me. Let's see if your son is accurate. Su Zipei sneered. I don't want to talk nonsense. Anyway, my sister is dead. Nobody knows what happened that night except for Mu Tongxue. You should let us go now. So, in order to not make a big deal out of this, you should return my sister's body to me. If that scum still wants to keep my sister's body, then I can only make a big deal out of it. I just want to know, after what happened with the exam papers, can the Mu family still take it? This is one disaster after another. Are you threatening me? Grandpa Mu asked Su Zipei in shock. Yes, I am threatening you. I am alone now. What can I do? Su Zipei said coldly. Grandpa Mu snorted coldly. But in the end, he nodded and said, I will discuss this with my unfilial son. But you have to give me some time. It's just a phone call. How long do you need? Well, you should give me an answer before 6 o'clock. Su Zipei was not that soft. After going through all these messy things, the thought of Mu Qiqi being without anyone to rely on made her like a suit of armor, and she learned to move forward bravely. The old man's expression didn't look good, but he still nodded. All right. Then I'll have to trouble you today. After that, Su Zipei stood up and bowed to Grandpa Mu again. Then, she turned around and looked at Mu Tongxue coldly. As for you, you will know the difference between you and Mu Qiqi one day. Mu Tongxue looked at Mu Tongxue coldly. With that, Su Zipei left the Mu Jia. But when she reached downstairs, she saw Mu Qiqi who was waiting for her. Aunt, you're up. Su Zipei pulled Mu Chichi into the car. Don't worry. I will handle this matter well. I will not let the father and daughter show their dirty faces in front of my sister again. Don't go and meet them. They are just a bunch of trash. I don't believe that Grandpa Mu would not know what his son has done. Mu Chichi's heart was filled with anger. Don't you worry. And your grandmother's death. I think Grandpa Mu is doing this on purpose. He knows how evil Mu Tangxue is, but he still thinks that you are the murderer. He doesn't want to know who is right or wrong. So, you don't have to worry about it. Mu Tangxue said. Mu Chichi looked at Su Zipei. She felt emotional when she saw how her aunt was protecting her. Although her mother had passed away, she still had her aunt. Aunt, I feel safe with you by my side. Since you feel safe, go and pursue your happiness. Young Master Sheng will help you deal with all the obstacles in front of you. As for the trouble behind you, just leave it to me. Mu Chichi's eyes turned red when she heard what Su Zipei said. She hugged Su Zipei. Don't worry, Aunt. You protected me today. I will protect you in the future. She looked at Mu Chichi and thought about Mu Tangxue. One was loyal, while the other was heartless. She really didn't know why there was such a big difference between twins. However, now wasn't the time for her to think about these things. Apart from finding Mama Mu's body, she and Xing Xiao had to figure out Mu Chichi's identity as soon as possible. After Su Zipei left the Mu family, Grandpa Mu looked at Mu Tangxue. He remembered Su Zipei's reminder just now. So, he called Mu Tangxue to him. Shue, come here. Grandpa. Come here. I won't do anything to you. I just want to know what happened on the night of the fire. Mu Tangxue shook her head and burst into tears. Grandpa, I really don't know why I woke up in the middle of the night because of the thick smoke. Then, I got up immediately and opened the window. I wanted to push the door open to see how Mommy was doing. But, I couldn't open the door no matter how hard I tried. I could vaguely hear Mommy's voice. She was asking me not to come out. I was scared. I called the police immediately. But I couldn't find my phone. Then, the police came. They asked me to jump down from the building. But I was so useless. I fainted after jumping down. If I didn't faint, I might not have missed the time when the police came to save Mommy. Grandpa Mu nodded and said, if what you said is true, then your mother told you not to go out because she wanted to save you. The fire spread from the kitchen. The living room and the staircase must be surrounded by fire. And your room is the furthest from the kitchen. So, it makes sense. Grandpa Mu nodded and said, that's right. Shue, are you sure about what you told me today? Grandpa, I swear. If I lied today, I will be struck by lightning. Grandpa Mu nodded and gave up. If that's the case, it's appropriate to let your aunt handle the body. It was up to Mu Tangxue to decide whether she was telling the truth or lying. Of course, she could not tell the truth to Grandpa Mu. Because she knew that the father and the son were in contact. If she said that she suspected her father, Grandpa Mu would definitely question Papa Mu. She did not know what Papa Mu would do to her if that happened. Su Zipei's words were a good reminder. Silencing her. Could she not learn her lesson from her mommy's tragic death? Then, Mu Tangxue went back to her room. She took out her mommy's belongings. Her mommy never left her hands. But, at that moment, Mu Tangxue saw something carved on the inside of the ring. Chapter 106. Xinjianchuan. Come to think of it, she remembered that her mother had been wearing the ring ever since she could remember. She had never taken it off. Could Xinjianchuan be her mother's first love? It was not strange that the Mu sisters did not know about Xinjianchuan. When Papa Mu and Xinjianchuan were brothers, they were not even born yet. After that, Xinjianchuan became a vegetable. Papa Mu felt that there was no need to mention him. So, the sisters had never heard about him. Could it be that Mommy had been secretly longing for her first love all these years? No matter what, her mother had passed away. There was no need to look into the past anymore. So, Mu Tongxue did not tell anyone about Shen Jinchuan's name in the ring. She was more worried about how to protect herself now. Su Zipei gave Grandpa Mu a time limit of 6:00 in the evening. It seemed that her aunt had made up her mind to get her mother's body back. But from her point of view, it was better for her father to deal with her mother's body. Although she was used in this matter, she was still afraid that others would find out about it. So, when she heard her grandpa calling her father, she hid behind the door and eavesdropped. Grandpa Mu wanted to let Su Zipei bury her mother's body since she was dead. Otherwise, no one knew what Su Zipei would do if she was provoked. But Papa Mu did not care. Father, let's not talk about the fact that she has no power or background. Even if she has, can't I deal with her? You can't just give in whenever Mu Group is in trouble. Do you care about our reputation? Grandpa Mu felt that what he said made sense. But, he felt that it was better not to provoke Su Zipei and Mu Chichi. He never thought that Papa Mu would cremate Mama Mu's corpse on his own. In just a few minutes, a complete person was reduced to ashes. At 6:00 in the evening, Su Zipei called Grandpa Mu to ask for the result. But Grandpa Mu stuttered. He could not say anything for a long time. Su Zipei understood what Grandpa Mu meant. Finally, she said, "It seems like you want to die together with us?" "Zipei, I have tried my best, but that bastard has cremated and buried her." The old master sighed and finally answered. Hearing this, Su Zipei was instantly enraged. "Bastard! Scum! I won't let this go." After hanging up, Su Zipei was so angry that she burst into tears. At that moment, Mu Chichi was right beside her. "Aunt, I heard everything. He clearly has a guilty conscience. This makes me even more suspicious that your mother's death is not as simple as it seems. Even if it's not simple now, there's no way to prove it." Mu Chichi told Su Zipei, but her expression was calmer than Su Zipei had imagined. "Chichi, since Mommy has buried her, let's just let her be." "But..." Mu Chichi raised her head and looked at Su Zipei. "I want that bastard to pay the most painful price. Isn't he afraid that his uncles will take over the management of Mu Group? Let's help him make his dream come true." "How?" Su Zipei asked Mu Chichi. She looked serious. Of course, she agreed with Mu Chichi's suggestion. "Aunt, have you forgotten that you have 10% of Mu Group's shares?" Mu Chichi said to Su Zipei. "Let's work with third uncle or youngest uncle." With that in mind, Mu Chichi gave Xing Xiao a call. After all, she did not know much about the business world. Xing Xiao heard her suggestion and smiled. Then, he said, "My little one, do you know how to take revenge?" "Xiao Xiao, is it possible?" "Of course. Aunt Su has 10% of the shares and your uncles have 8% each. Although Grandpa Mu still has 20% of the shares, it is still possible for him to replace the CEO. After all, the board of directors is a voting system. Of course, we need to add some spice to it." What Xing Xiao meant was that the other uncles of the Mu family had been coveting Papa Mu's management for a long time. They just needed to communicate with them and form an alliance. But before that, they had to release some information to the media. They had to exaggerate the cause of Mama Mu's death. They had to add some human factors into the story so that the media would not be able to find any evidence. Moreover, the shareholders would be very disappointed with Papa Mu because of the exam paper incident. If they betrayed him now, it would be a horrible ending. Both Mu Chichi and Su Zipei agreed with Xing Xiao's arrangement. As long as they could make that bastard pay the price, they would let go of their kindness and their bottom line. "Chichi, Uncle Lu and I will be the most suitable person to deal with your uncles. You are related to that bastard by blood. I am afraid that your uncles will think that it is risky to form an alliance." Su Zipei said to Mu Chichi. You and young Master Sheng will deal with the media. He has connections and you have literary talent. You can make the story more interesting. Maybe the police will think that it is really suspicious and will put in a lot of effort to investigate. Mu Chichi nodded after listening to Su Zipei's arrangement. Aunt Zipei, this arrangement is perfect. Su Zipei smiled and reached out to stroke Mu Chichi's head. She sighed. You don't look like a member of the Mu family no matter how I look at you. I am no longer a member of the Mu family. Have you forgotten, Aunt Zipei? Mu Chichi did not understand what Su Zipei meant. Because Xing Xiao was still investigating the matter. Huang Yao. Xing Xiao walked out of the meeting room nobly after the meeting. Jing Yun came to him. Young master, it's done. Xing Xiao took out a transparent bag from his black suit and handed it to Jing Yun. Do a DNA test. Well, if I tell you to go, then go. Jing Yun did as he was told since it was Xing Xiao's arrangement. He did not have to go into details to know who the DNA test belonged to. Young master, is it only Miss Mu Chichi? Do you want to compare the other one as well? Jing Yun meant Mu Tangxue. Xing Xiao paused and turned to look at him in confusion. Actually, there are some clues from comparing Miss Mu Chichi and the other girl's personality. Miss Mu Chichi and the Mu family do not have similar personalities at all, but Mu Tangxue is different. She is vicious and calculative. That is why it is better to investigate her. Chapter 107. Young master, it's no longer unusual for triplets to have 3 fathers, Jing Yun explained. Jing Yun explained, even medicine can't give an accurate diagnosis of heredity. How could a normal person imagine it? In fact, Jing Yun was right. Mu Chichi's personality was too similar to the Shen family, especially Grandpa Shen. Even Shen Jianchuan himself was a playful person, but at least he was kind, loyal, and brave. But Mu Tangxue, if Jing Yun's prediction was true, things would get interesting. Then how do you plan to get the specimen? Xing Xiao raised a brow at Jing Yun. Actually, it's easy. I just need a friend from the police station to help me. Be quick. Xing Xiao ordered. Suddenly, Xing Xiao was very curious about the result. It would be exciting for the Shen family when the time comes. Of course, Xing Xiao did not mention it to Su Zipei before the result was out. After all, it was just Jing Yun's conjecture. It was just a DNA test. It would never go wrong. In fact, Su Zipei and Mu Chichi could not stay idle either. It was the first time they were planning their revenge, which was why they stayed in the study for the whole day to come up with all sorts of deductions so that there would not be any loopholes in every step. At 10 o'clock, Xing Xiao came to the little mansion from Huang Yao. He had planned to bring Mu Chichi back to her new home, but he suddenly laughed when he saw how serious Mu Chichi was about killing Papa Mu. In the end, one must go through trials and tribulations to make a person grow. Then I'll go to your third uncle tomorrow. It's safer to go to her youngest uncle. Although her third uncle has shown a strong desire to seize the management rights and an alliance is not out of the question, he might ruin things. After all, people who can show their desires will be guarded against. Do you understand? Xing Xiao interrupted the conversation between the two of them. But, I know. You're afraid that her youngest uncle won't agree. Xing Xiao sat down beside Mu Chichi and answered, that's because youngest uncle is a smart man. He wants to reap the benefits of others. Now that such a good opportunity has been presented to him, he won't say no. Trust me. Su Zipei nodded with Xing Xiao's analysis. I'll listen to you, young Master Sheng. As for the paparazzi, I won't use my real identity to contact you. Mu Chichi interrupted him. Because things like public opinion might backfire, so I have to disguise myself, especially as a witness who might be related to the fire that night. Xing Xiao patted her head and nodded. You've learned your lesson. You've taught me well. Mu Chichi looked at him and answered firmly. Since that's the case, then it's decided. Aunt Sue, I'll take him away. All right, be careful on the road. Su Zipei smiled when she saw how much Xing Xiao loved Muqiqi. It was probably the only thing that warmed her heart these few days. Although they had been going through a lot of hardships, at least there were people who could support and accompany her and Qiqi. Thinking of this, Su Zipei called Lu Wenhua. Lu Wenhua agreed without hesitation. School hadn't started yet, so he still had a few days of free time. However, once school started, he would be a little busier. Su Zipei understood all that. Xiao Xiao, you're not reserved at all in front of my aunt. After getting into the car, Muqiqi felt uncomfortable when she thought of Su Zipei's gaze. Do you think she didn't see the marks on your body? Xing Xiao couldn't help but mock her. She's already experienced it. Don't tell me she can't see it. Muqiqi lowered her head and saw the marks on her collarbone. She quickly covered it. I forgot about it. Su Zipei did not have any reaction because she used to be with that scumbag when she was still a teenager. She had been with that scumbag for so many years. Although nothing good happened in the end, she knew that Muqiqi was an adult now. She had made her own choices. Even if it was wrong, she would support her to the end. But she knew very well that Muqiqi would not change. No matter how the environment changed, she would not change. Idiot. Although everything is in place now, I can't breathe a sigh of relief. Because I know that scumbag might make a comeback until the very last moment. He won't make a mistake. Muqiqi remembered her mother's tragic death, and she could not let it go. As for Mu Tangxue, as long as that scumbag is gone, she won't be able to stir up trouble anymore. That's not necessarily true. Xing Xiao said with a hidden meaning. After all, when the DNA test came out, if she was really a Shen, Mu Tangxue would definitely have bad intentions. But it was not easy to enter the Shen family, was it not? Moreover, there was still the possibility that Jing Yin mentioned. If Muqiqi was a Shen, Mu Tangxue would never imagine that she and Muqiqi were twins and had two fathers. When that happened, the Shen family would not admit her identity. Just thinking about it was exciting. Xiao Xiao, are you in a good mood tonight? Muqiqi could not help relaxing when she saw the smile on Xing Xiao's lips. You don't have to know about it for now. I will tell you when I have the chance. Xing Xiao kept her in suspense. But when they reached the villa, Xing Xiao did not open the door and get out of the car. What's wrong? In the car, we haven't tried it yet. Xing Xiao looked at Muqiqi. His eyes were burning with passion. Muqiqi remembered how fierce he was yesterday. She quickly got out of the car. She still had to save her energy for something else. This man's stamina and ability were too shocking. The corners of Xing Xiao's lips curled up into a beautiful smile with a hint of playfulness and recklessness. Sometimes, teasing this little thing was a very pleasant thing. She was running like a rabbit now. But it was fine. One day, he would catch the little one and she would not be able to run away. Late at night, Papa Mu finally returned to Grandpa Xing's house. He saw Grandpa Xing waiting for him in the living room with a serious look on his face. He walked up to him and asked casually, Dad, you're not asleep yet? Why did you cremate my daughter-in-law? Grandpa Mu asked Papa Mu sternly. Dad, I've already told you the reason on the phone. Are you still afraid of a woman? I've already cremated her and buried her. What can she do to me? All she can do is stomp her feet. Papa Mu looked a little arrogant. After all, there was no evidence. And with Mu Tangshua's protection, he could do whatever he wanted now. You better pray that she only stomps her feet. You will regret it if she does anything else. Chapter 108. Papa Mu never thought that Muqiqi and Su Zipei would really fight back. Perhaps he never thought that he was heartless or malicious, but to Muqiqi and Su Zipei, he was just like Mu Tangxue. He did not leave them any hope at all. So, that night, Muqiqi stayed in the study of her new home and wrote a long draft. She had to make it look real so that the audience would be convinced. It was 11 at night. Xing Xiao reached for the spot beside him and found that Mu Qiqi was not in the bedroom. He quickly got up and went to the study. When he saw Mu Qiqi sitting under the night light, he walked up to her and carried her horizontally. Xiao Xiao, who allowed you to enter the study? Xing Xiao's voice was cold. I'm just borrowing it. I didn't go through your things. It's 11. Don't you know that I'll be looking for you everywhere when I wake up? Xing Xiao carried her back to the bedroom and put her on the bed, pressing her between his arms. Do you have to be so serious? The media is better at making things up than you are. Mu Qiqi lowered her head at Xing Xiao's words, a little disappointed. I'm useless, aren't I? I can only do things that won't help. It's commendable to work hard and have a serious attitude. However, you have to make good use of resources, know their strengths, and make full use of their advantages. You can't do anything well just because you try your best. There are specializations in every field, understand? Xing Xiao explained seriously. Mu Qiqi nodded. Xiao Xiao, I understand what you mean. Go to sleep then. Xing Xiao moved away from her and pulled the blanket for her. Get in. Mu Qiqi obediently got under the blanket and lay down. Then, she asked, Xiao Xiao, can I use the script I've written? Only the people involved understand that feeling the most. That's why it could trigger everyone's passion. Xing Xiao reached out and pulled her into his arms. All right, but you're always by my side. That's the most useful thing for me. Xiao Xiao, your body is starting to heat up again. Are you? That's why you should stop doing things that would make me hot. Xing Xiao warned. Mu Qiqi did not dare to say anything else and simply curled up in his arms, not daring to move her limbs. She was afraid that she would accidentally ignite his body. The next morning, Su Zipei and Lu Wenhua went to visit Mu Qiqi's youngest uncle. He was the youngest son of the Mu family. However, Grandpa Mu did not dote on him. Although he owned 8% of Mu Group's shares and lived a luxurious life, his ambition was to run a company. All these years, although he did not show his desire for the Mu Group, the people around him knew about his ambition. Uncle Mu was surprised to see Su Zipei and Lu Wenhua. He asked his wife to make some tea and they chatted on the lawn. A rare guest. Isn't this my second brother's sister-in-law? I'm really curious, how did you find this place? Uncle Mu Xiao was very tall and thin. Looking at his posture, he did look a little lazy and leisurely. He didn't look like someone in charge. I guess Mr. Mu Xiao must have heard about my sister being burned to death. My main purpose of coming here today is to form an alliance with you. She went straight to the point and said, Do you want the management rights of Mu Group? Mu Xiao smiled and answered Su Zipei, Miss Su, it seems like you want to take revenge for your sister? Yes. I'm curious, Miss Su. Why did you come to me? I have 2 brothers ahead of me. Because I believe that once Mu Group is in your hands, no one will be able to take it away from you. As long as you agree to form an alliance, I will vote for you during the board meeting to dismiss the CEO. Moreover, after that, I will give you 10% of Mu Group's shares. This is a win-win situation for you. Mu Xiao laughed when he heard what Su Zipei said. I can't just ask for a board meeting to dismiss my second brother for no reason, can I? We have already found an excuse for you. You just need to form an alliance. Looking at Su Zipei's expression, he could tell that she really hated Papa Mu. Miss Su, since you hate my second brother so much, could it be that he had something to do with second sister-in-law's death? My sister is dead. Not only does he not have to give me half of his assets, he can even marry another wife and have children. Wouldn't you be suspicious if you were him? Moreover, he buried my sister's body without my consent. If he was innocent, why would he be so anxious? Mu Xiaodi listened and nodded. It seems to make sense. If that's the case. It's just as you said. I won't miss such a good opportunity. But, we should form an alliance so that you won't go back on your words. Otherwise, if you go back on your words, I will offend my second brother. Wouldn't I lose more than I gain? Actually, it was great for Su Zipei that Mu Shao was willing to sign the alliance. It was a guarantee for both of them. That's exactly what I want. Both of them signed the contract. Then, the alliance was formed. There will be some troubles in Mu Group after this. If that bastard asks you about it, just pretend that you don't know anything. Then, we will give that bastard a good beating. I will listen to you, Miss Su. It was said that a man who took revenge was the scariest. But, in fact, a woman who took revenge was the scariest. Mu Xiaodi watched Su Zipei and Lu Wenhua leave. He was curious about Lu Wenhua's identity. But, Mu Xiaodi's wife knew who he was. He's the vice principal of Eton. You don't even care about the children's education. Of course, you don't know about him. But, it also shows that Su Zipei came prepared. Then, it will be a good show. The next day, Mu Qiqi and the paparazzi were working together with Su Zipei. According to Xing Shao, the paparazzi were very good at making up stories. But, Mu Qiqi did not let her guard down. In fact, the paparazzi would not dare to do anything half-heartedly if it was arranged by Jing Yun. Soon, an article titled, "He chose to burn his wife to avoid splitting the family's fortune," became a hot topic on all the major forums. This kind of article touched the nerves of the urban men and women. Once it was published, it attracted a lot of attention. The article was written from an insider's point of view and a secretary's tone. It was about a CEO of an enterprise. Because his wife filed for divorce, he had evil intentions. He burned his wife to death with an accidental fire. He did not allow anyone to take away his wife's body. Once the article was published, it caused a lot of controversy. Not only that, people started to analyze who the people in the article were. Chapter 109. Soon, Mr. C revealed that the CEO of a certain company was involved in an incident a few days ago. The whole country was in an uproar. He reminded everyone that the incident was related to his daughter. This time, a lot of people were able to take their own seats. Isn't he CEO Mu from Mu Group? There was a fire in his house. Moreover, he was in an uproar because the two sisters exchanged the exam papers a few days ago. Now that you mention it, I remember now. If it's true, that man is such a scumbag. Why didn't the police do anything about it? That post went viral on the internet. The topic itself was a hot topic. Moreover, they had invested a lot of money into it. Hence, Mu Group was naturally pushed to the forefront of the discussion. It only took a day and a night for the incident to develop. Papa Mu was very busy. He did not have time to care about it. But, everyone in Mu Group knew about it. Even Mu Tangxue saw the post. So, she showed it to Grandpa Mu. When Grandpa Mu heard about it, he was furious. Shua, has this matter been blown out of proportion? Grandpa, yes. There are tens of thousands of comments under the post. It's very unpleasant. Mu Tangxue was also frightened. But, she knew that she was not the target of the incident. Grandpa Mu stood up from the sofa and walked to the window with his walking stick. He said to Mu Tangxue, "It seems like that bastard's position as CEO has come to an end." The incident had become a big deal. There were so many people watching Mu Group. How could the shareholders and the brothers of the Mu family do nothing about it? Moreover, that unfilial son, when the exam papers were out, he promised the shareholders that something similar wouldn't happen again. But now, it had only been a few days since he promised. Mu Group was finally on the right track. Now, it was going to be a disaster again. Grandpa, are you going to fire my father? Do you think your father is capable enough to be in that position? Soon, the shareholders of Mu Group called Grandpa Mu. They represented the 4 shareholders and requested for a board meeting. The incident had spread. Now, everyone was scolding Mu Group. Everything was so coincidental. It was too suspicious. Grandpa Mu thought about it for a while and finally, he could only reply, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, Mu Group's meeting room. We will hold a board meeting. When Papa Mu got off work, he felt strange because everyone was looking at him meaningfully. Moreover, there were a few people who were sneakily following him at the entrance of the company. Papa Mu did not notice it, and the secretary did not dare to tell him. So, Papa Mu did not know that he had become a popular person. After entering the house, Grandpa Xing waited for his son in the living room, just like the night before. Dad, you're not asleep again? Grandpa Mu turned around and sighed. He said to Papa Mu, there will be a board meeting at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. You're the only one who doesn't know about it now. Why? I don't know why. You might lose your position as the CEO. Grandpa Mu snorted. He turned around and was about to return to his room. But Papa Mu stopped him. What do you mean? Why do you say that? I've warned you before not to mess with Su Zipei. I told you to hand over Su Zipei's body. But you didn't listen to me. You made the decision on your own. Now, your retribution has come. Go and see what's on the internet. The shareholders don't trust you at all. Everyone is waiting for you to step down, Grandpa Mu said. Then, he threw his phone to Papa Mu. Papa Mu looked at the news on the phone. His face changed immediately. Dad, it's slander. If others believe you, then it's not slander. Moreover, it doesn't matter if it's slander or not, it has already caused irreversible damage to Mu Group. Do you think that you still have the right to be in that position? She is a woman. But, she can still find ways to deal with you. Do you think that everything will end after burning Su Zipei's body? Whether it's Su Zipei now or Mu Qiqi now, she is not someone you can look down on. She has the support of a French tycoon. After saying that, Grandpa Mu went back to his room with the help of his walking stick. Papa Mu finally realized the seriousness of the matter. He called his brothers immediately. He wanted to get some support. But, his brothers chose to stay out of it. They would talk about it in the meeting tomorrow. Papa Mu smashed Grandpa Mu's phone. He was furious. He wanted to contact Su Zipei. But, Su Zipei did not give him any chance to breathe. She pretended that he did not exist. Humph. That bastard must be jumping around at home now, Su Zipei said to Mu Qiqi as she looked at the missed calls on her phone. Aunt Zipei, he will try to retaliate. Mu Qiqi knew her father very well. Give him one night. I want to see how many shareholders he can meet. I want to see how many things he can offer to negotiate with them. Qiqi, tomorrow, you and Aunt will go together. Of course I will. Mu Qiqi said calmly. Wenhua said that you are the one who wrote that post on the internet. How can you write about feelings if you don't experience it yourself? Mu Qiqi asked Su Zipei. Su Zipei saw her teary eyes. She pinched her cheeks. Wait a little longer. We will get our revenge soon. Mu Qiqi nodded. She wanted to see that scum being chased away by everyone tomorrow as well. Why didn't young Master Xing come to pick you up tonight? Su Zipei looked at the time. She was surprised that Xing Xiao rarely worked so late recently. I don't know. Mu Qiqi shook her head. Maybe he is caught up in something. And it was none other than the DNA test results that Jing Yun had sent to him. The results could have been obtained 6 hours after the test. But, Xing Xiao did not have the chance to open it. There was no one in the office now. So, he was free. But, he did not move for a long time. Young master, is there something you are worried about? Jing Yun asked Xing Xiao when he saw that. Xing Xiao crossed his arms and held his forehead. You won't understand this feeling. He was nervous for Mu Qiqi and worried for her. It was all because of his Qiqi. Otherwise, When would the wanton crown prince of Huang Yao show such an expression? Jing Yun had never seen Xing Xiao like that. It was all thanks to Mu Qiqi. Forget it. Give me the paper bag. In the end, Xing Xiao decided to accept the truth. After all, he was Mu Qiqi's mental support. Chapter 110. Jing Yun was actually very curious when Xing Xiao showed him the results of the test. Logically speaking, the two sisters looked very similar, so there shouldn't be such a situation. However, when he was doing the test, he also asked the people at the Medical Appraisal Center and looked up relevant information. Human research on genetics was just the tip of the iceberg. The people at the Medical Identification Center told him that identical twins were very similar. But there were also cases where identical twins were different. Although the probability was very low, it was not unheard of. Similarly, fraternal twins should not be similar. But because the mother's genes were stronger, they inherited more of her genes. So, there was a high possibility of them being similar. Jing Yun had looked up the information online. It turned out that there were cases of fraternal twins being very similar. Young master, what's the result? Xing Xiao put the results on the glass table in front of him. See for yourself. Jing Yun bent down and picked up the results. But before he could say anything, Xing Xiao spoke first. With that mouth of yours, I'm afraid you could work in the gambling industry. Jing Yun answered Xing Xiao after reading the results. Because their personalities are too different. Under normal circumstances, identical twins are more similar and stable. Moreover, the people at the Medical Identification Center told me that the difference in determining whether two twins are identical is not limited to their appearance. It also includes their personality, blood type, figure, and hair. Now that I think about it, Miss Mu Tangxue and Miss Mu Qiqi are not that similar except for their faces. Especially their personalities. It's just that no one suspected that. Test again. Xing Xiao was still doubtful after hearing Jing Yun's words. And contact the expert in this field. I want a definite answer. Jing Yun nodded. Yes. I will arrange it as soon as possible. But if the result is the same, what do you plan to do, young master? Let her return to her rightful place since she is a Shen. Xing Xiao said. Because she has a real family. What about Mu Tangxue? If the result is the same, we can make Mu Tangxue think that she is a Shen too. Xing Xiao told Jing Yun. You should know that if Mu Tangxue thinks that she is a Shen, will she abandon the Mu family at all costs? With Xing Xiao's reminder, Jing Yun could already imagine the scene of Mu Tangxue and Papa Mu tearing at each other. If Papa Mu knew that the daughter he had raised for so many years was not his own, his expression would be very interesting. Also, will she think that she has been reborn and can bully Qiqi in a new environment? I understand what you mean, young master. Make her think that she is a member of the Shen family and fall out with the Mu family. She would even shamelessly go to the Shen family's doorstep. In the end, when the truth is made public, all that awaits her is endless humiliation. Jing Yun explained Xing Xiao's intention. So, we have to plan this matter well. After that scum of the Mu clan steps down, we will give him the second big gift. Xing Xiao's expression relaxed, and there was a hint of laziness amidst his nobility. Of course, we must let Grandpa Shen know about the results of the DNA test. That way, he would not be bewitched by Mu Tangxue. Although the old man of the Shen family was not an ordinary person, he was not a simple person. Well, are you going to tell Miss Mu Tangxue about this now? Xing Xiao took a deep breath and rose from the sofa at Jing Yun's question. There's no need. She has just suffered the blow of her mother's death. Even so, he had to give Su Zipei an answer. Hence, they agreed on 3 days' time. Soon after nightfall, Xing Xiao finally drove to the little mansion. When he saw the lights in the dining room, he knew that the two inside were waiting for him. Xing Xiao got out of the car and slowly walked inside. Mu Qiqi smiled when she saw him. You're finally back, Xiao Xiao. Xing Xiao looked at her and sat down at the dining table. Are you happy? Tomorrow is the day that scum steps down. Of course I'm happy. Mu Qiqi handed Xing Xiao a pair of chopsticks. Are you so sure that it would work? Xing Xiao asked in return. Even if something unexpected happens tomorrow, I'm happy to see that scum in pain right now. Xing Xiao said nothing else and reminded Mu Qiqi instead, let's eat. Young Master Sheng, is there a conclusion to that matter? Su Zipei asked, noticing Xing Xiao's unusual behavior right in front of Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi did a double take, puzzled. What matter? Not yet. Xing Xiao lowered his head to answer Su Zipei. Wait a little longer. All right. What secret do you two have? Mu Qiqi was reluctant and wanted to keep asking, but Xing Xiao gave her head a squeeze, almost pushing her face into the rice bowl. After dinner, Xing Xiao led Mu Qiqi away from the little mansion. On the way home, Mu Qiqi stole several glances at Xing Xiao. Is there something that even I can't know about? You'll know when the time is right. Some things are more interesting the later you learn about them. Mu Qiqi took a deep breath and nodded. She kept staring at Xing Xiao's profile, her eyes showing a hint of infatuation. Xing Xiao ignored her, and waited until they reached the entrance of their new home before locking the car door and turning to look at her. Since you're so infatuated with me, shouldn't you show me something? Mu Qiqi was taken aback. She looked back at Xing Xiao and asked uncertainly, how? Xing Xiao smiled with a hint of playfulness and wickedness, and gestured at the back seat with his chin. Mu Qiqi understood at once and was about to resist, but Xing Xiao had already lifted her onto his thighs and pinned her to the steering wheel so that she couldn't move. Don't you like to peek at me? Aren't you infatuated with me? I'm afraid that someone might pass by. This is our garden. Who would pass by? Xing Xiao's voice was deep and sexy, tickling Mu Qiqi's heart. She kept feeling that she should resist, but at the same time, she yearned for it. Xing Xiao didn't give her time to respond. He rolled up the car window, lifted her chin and kissed her. Mu Qiqi didn't dare to move. She could only let him ignite the passion in her, and her body became more and more uncontrollable. He especially loved the place where the tattoo was, and it was a sensitive spot for most women. Xiao Xiao, not here. My limbs are numb. Mu Qiqi was pressed between Xing Xiao's legs and couldn't move at all. Xing Xiao's eyes were blurry. He opened the door and carried Mu Qiqi out of the car. Chapter 111. On the other hand, Mu Tangxue was not having a good time. It was not easy for her to reconcile with Papa Mu. They covered for each other about the fire. However, Papa Mu was facing the danger of being dismissed. That night, Papa Mu kept making calls in the living room. Mu Tangxue hid in the corridor. She did not dare to show her face. She was afraid that she would vent her anger on him. Why was it that she tried so hard to please her father? She even lost her mother. But in the end, she did not get anything. Instead, she was losing everything. If her father really lost the management rights of Mu Group, what was the point of the Mu family? If she knew this earlier, she would have, so, her only way out now was to please Grandpa Mu. At least, it was better to follow Grandpa Mu than to follow her father. However, she was not free of worries even if she followed Grandpa Mu. Because if the truth about her grandmother was exposed one day, she would become an enemy just like Mu Qiqi. On the other hand, Mu Qiqi was doing very well with the support of a French tycoon. Even Su Zipei had become stronger. She was going to take revenge for her mommy with such a ruthless move. Suddenly, Mu Tangxue felt lost. What was her future? After thinking about it, Mu Tangxue kneeled in front of Grandpa Mu when Papa Mu went to work the next morning. What are you doing? Grandpa Mu asked Mu Tangxue. Grandpa, you know that my father likes to abuse me, my sister and even my mother. If my father is dismissed today, I beg you to protect me. I don't want to be beaten. Grandpa Mu took a deep breath when he heard that. His face darkened. You are a coward. You only know how to hurt your own family. Grandpa, all right, get up. I will protect you. Grandpa Mu promised Mu Tongxue. It must have been hard on you. You have just experienced a huge change in your family. Hard? After Mama Mu passed away, every time Mu Tongxue felt sad, it was because she did not get any benefits. When did she feel sad? Mama Mu treated her well. But what about Mu Qiqi? Her mother had passed away. She knew that she had to take revenge, even if Mama Mu had never been kind to her. Mu Tongxue only felt assured with the old man's assurance. Of course, in the depths of her heart, it was all because of her own sister, Mu Qiqi, that the family had come to this state. If Mu Qiqi had lived quietly after she was chased out, the Mu family would not have ended up like this. After all, he was Papa Mu's biological son. Now, it was no longer strange for him to have such thoughts. If the upper beam was not upright, how could the lower beam be upright? At this moment, in the Mu group, the shareholders' meeting was about to begin. Papa Mu was calm as usual. He arrived at Mu Group early to deal with his daily work as if nothing had happened. At 8:30 in the morning, more than half of the shareholders in Mu Group's meeting room had already arrived. The secretary was worried about her future when she saw how calm Papa Mu was. Boss Mu, what? I haven't gotten off the stage yet, Papa Mu said coldly to the secretary. CEO Mu, the old chairman has arrived. He's in the conference room now. Is that incident still as hot on the internet as before? Papa Mu was not in the mood to care about what was going on in the conference room. He only wanted to know if it was still a hot topic on the internet. It's still on the hot search list. It hasn't come down yet. The secretary answered Papa Mu timidly. The public relations department has done something about it. They even called the police. But, it's too influential, I understand. You can leave now, Papa Mu was calm. He sent the secretary away immediately. The secretary nodded and left. She felt depressed and uncomfortable every second that she stayed with Papa Mu. Papa Mu looked at the secretary as she left. He lowered his head and continued to deal with his work. Last night, he had contacted many shareholders. Although he had paid a hefty price, he was sure that more than half of the shareholders still supported him. So, wasn't it too early to talk about removing him from office? He did not expect that Su Zipei and Mu Qiqi would appear at the entrance of Mu Group at 8:30 in the morning. Just like last time, Su Zipei was stopped by the receptionist. I'm sorry, Miss Su. Do you have an appointment? You can't go up if you don't. Last time, Su Zipei was stopped by the receptionist because she was furious. She did not expect that she was a shareholder. How could she be fooled so easily today? Even Mu Qiqi would not agree to it. Don't you know that my aunt is a shareholder of Mu Group? Appointment? When your CEO steps down, you'll have to think about whether you can keep your job. The receptionist knew who Mu Qiqi was. But, she did not know that Su Zipei owned 10% of Mu Group's shares. She was a major shareholder. After hearing what Mu Qiqi said, the receptionist immediately apologized to them. I'm sorry, Miss Su. I'm so sorry. I'll bring you up now. You have your own responsibilities as a receptionist. But, don't forget to look down on others. Otherwise, you won't even know how you lost your job. The receptionist was shocked. After all, she had treated Su Zipei badly that day. She did not know what was going on in the company. Who knew that she had offended the shareholders? Soon, they reached the top floor of Mu Group. When they got out of the elevator, Papa Mu came out of his office. When he saw Su Zipei and Mu Qiqi, Papa Mu's eyes were filled with mockery. His eyes said, with just you two. Su Zipei and Mu Qiqi did not back down. But, only shareholders were allowed to enter the meeting room. So, Mu Qiqi said to Su Zipei, I'll be outside the meeting room. If anything uncontrollable happens in there, tell me. I'll call the police. Don't worry. I don't think this scumbag has the guts to do that. After all, there are so many shareholders here. Su Zipei purposely raised her voice so that Papa Mu could hear her. Aunt, just try your best. I'm not trying my best for your mommy. I'll definitely do it. Su Zipei said firmly. Early in the morning, Xing Xiao had helped Su Zipei and Mu Qiqi to predict what would happen in the shareholders' meeting. He also taught Su Zipei how to deal with it. Chapter 112. Mu Qiqi watched as Su Zipei entered the meeting room. Then, the other uncles of the Mu family arrived at the entrance of the meeting room one after another. Mu Qiqi looked at her youngest uncle subconsciously because Xing Xiao had told her to stay at the meeting room. She would be very useful today. As for Mr. Mu Xiao Xiao, he gave her a meaningful smile. Then, Papa Mu's secretary came out of the meeting room and asked Mu Qiqi, "Miss, do you want to wait in the lounge?" "It's okay. I'll stay here. I won't go anywhere." Mu Qiqi was afraid that Papa Mu would use his secretary to do something to her. The secretary did not force Mu Qiqi. She just let Mu Qiqi stand at the entrance of the meeting room. At 9:00 in the morning, all the shareholders of Mu Group had arrived. There were 24 of them. "We have called for this meeting because of the rumors about the current CEO of Mu Group. It's even more sensational this time. Murdering his own wife. Because of these rumors, Mu Group has suffered a great blow. Their shares have fallen and their trust in us has fallen. Our business partners have retreated and our suppliers have chosen to work with us. I hope that you can give us a reasonable explanation. You promised that you would not put Mu Group in danger again. But, how many days has it been? Are you going to embarrass yourself?" One of the shareholders started to attack Papa Mu when the meeting started. However, Papa Mu smiled calmly. He looked at Su Zipei. "I won't run away from what I've promised. But, what if the rumors on the internet were deliberately spread by someone? You know that my wife was killed in a fire a few days ago. I was in Japan at that time. May I ask, how can I do anything to my wife? What do you think, Miss Su? Let's settle our personal grudges in private. Why do we have to let everyone know about it?" Papa Mu purposely pointed the finger at Su Zipei. He accused Su Zipei of spreading the news to the media. "Miss Su, why would she do that to you?" The shareholder continued to ask. "Because I cremated my wife's body without her permission. She wants to take revenge on me. That's why she framed me," Papa Mu argued. Su Zipei smiled when she heard the accusation. She was calmer than him. "I don't understand what you're talking about." "Zipei, how can you not understand? You understand. If Mr. Mu wants to put the blame on me, I'll accept it." Su Zipei shrugged. "But how can you argue that you're incompetent? After the incident broke out, did you look for a PR team? Do you have a way to deal with it? We're not here to hold you accountable. If you can't come up with a solution and let Mu Group continue like this, who's going to protect our rights as shareholders?" Xing Xiao had specifically instructed Su Zipei. No matter how Papa Mu tried to accuse her, she would not admit it. Moreover, she would focus on solving the problem instead of finding the cause. If this matter was planned by you, then the nature of the matter would naturally be different. I will definitely investigate this matter. Brother-in-law, it's fine if you cremated my sister's body. But for such a small matter, do you think I would plan such a big thing to frame you? Su Zipei asked Papa Mu helplessly. "I believe you have nothing to do with what happened to my sister. Why would I frame you if I believe you? What's in it for me?" Papa Mu did not know what to say after he heard that. Su Zipei had completely stopped hating him. She looked as if she was not involved in this matter. "CEO Mu, what we want is your solution. You keep accusing a woman. It's an eye-opener for us as shareholders. One of the shareholders quickly spoke up for Su Zipei. Mu Group's stock price is dropping. You've caused us to suffer huge losses in the last 2 incidents. Now, you're trying to frame someone else in this meeting. How can we continue to hand over Mu Group to you? Of course, I have a solution. The documents that my secretary gave you just now are about how to deal with this crisis. Papa Mu snorted. Mu Group has been attacked by others many times. Are we going to endure their persecution? I'm innocent. I've done my best for Mu Group all these years. I've made Mu Group what it is today. Even if I don't have any credit, don't I have any hard work? Are you going to dismiss me because of such a small matter? After the shareholders heard this, they all opened the crisis management materials in front of them and started reading. Meanwhile, Su Zipei calmed down. She knew that she had to be patient when she was dealing with Papa Mu. I've invited the police to appear on the talk show with me. I want them to explain the fire incident to the public. The public will sympathize with us because of their misunderstanding of us. So, why don't you use this incident as a way to promote Mu Group? The shareholders were silent after reading the documents. However, Mr. Mu Xiao suddenly said, let's let someone else do it. It'll help us regain our trust in Mu Group. We don't need you to do it. Brother, what do you mean? Papa Mu was suddenly nervous. His little brother was usually the one who did not make a move and never took the initiative to speak up. Why was he standing beside Su Zipei now? What I mean is that there are so many things that we can dig out from your family. It's not just about Shui, or exchanging exam papers or second sister-in-law's death. There are other things too. We can get through this crisis safely. But, what about next time? Brother. Think carefully before you speak. Papa Mu said to him angrily. He sounded like he was threatening him. Isn't there still no conclusion about Mom's death? Mr. Mu Xiao retorted. What about chasing your own daughter out of the house? That's only a recent incident. Let's talk about the incident with young Master Shen in the future. What if someone finds out about it? Won't we have to bear the risk with you again and again? Su Zipei was stunned when she heard about young Master Shen. Could it be that Mr. Mu Xiao knew about these things? No. Did everyone in the Mu family know about it but they hid it from her on purpose? There are so many talented people in the company. Why do we need a person who is tainted to manage the company? It's up to you if you want to take the risk. But, I won't agree to it. After hearing what Mr. Mu Xiao said, the shareholders leaned towards Papa Mu's dismissal again. When Grandpa Mu saw this scene, he understood what the people on the table meant. Chapter 113. Papa Mu did not know that Mr. Mu Xiao and Zipei were doing the same thing. They wanted him to reveal all his trump cards. Now that he had used all his trump cards, what else could he hope for? He could only pin all his hopes on Grandpa Mu. Father, say something. Papa Mu let Grandpa Mu make the decision. I've been working hard for Mu Group all these years. I didn't expect so many people to oppose me. I'm really disappointed. Grandpa Mu knew how much he had done for the company. He had been working hard all this while so that he would not give up his management rights. But, Father, you've been biased all these years. It's time for you to change. Are you going to follow second brother's example and chase those who oppose him out of Mu Group? Mr. Mu Xiao continued. Little brother, I didn't expect you to be so ambitious. Mr. Mu Xiao did not say anything. He stood up with a smile and walked out of the meeting room. He opened the door and said to Mu Chichi, "Come in, Chichi." Uncle, Mu Chichi was dragged into the meeting room. Everyone did not understand why Mr. Mu Xiao did that. But, he pulled Mu Chichi to his seat and asked, "Chichi, tell us all about the grievances you've suffered all these years." Uncle, are you talking about how I've been accused of killing my grandmother? Or how I've been chased out of the house? Or, the domestic violence that Mr. Mu has suffered all these years? Mu Chichi looked like she was wronged. But, she was stubborn. Everyone, Chi-Chi is second brother's daughter. But, he treats her differently. All these years, he has been beating and scolding her. He is biased towards her sister. Why? Because Chi-Chi is not obedient. He said that Chi-Chi killed her grandmother without any evidence. In fact, he was afraid that we would pursue the matter. But, we want the truth more. But, he chased Chi-Chi out of the house. He thought that he had given us an explanation. But, he let a 17-year-old girl wander outside. Luckily, Madame Su pitted Chi-Chi so that she did not lose her home. So, I have every reason to believe that the accusations against you are not groundless. You treat your own daughter this way. Then, your wife is even more useless. If this matter is really dug out, will Mu Group be shut down? Can you bear this responsibility? Why don't you just let people forget about you? That would be the best relief for the Mu Group. Most of the people present were already parents. To be able to chase his own daughter out of the house, it was clear that he had a heart of stone. How ruthless. The shareholders couldn't help sighing. I've never seen such a ruthless father. If Chi-Chi had not come today and Mr. Mu Xiao had only said that, the shareholders would not have been able to resonate with Papa Mu and they would not have hated him. However, Mu Chi-Chi had come along, whether it was intentional or not, she had been a great help in this matter. Why did Chi-Chi come at the right time? If this wasn't part of your plan, then why are you here? Papa Mu pointed his finger at Mu Chi-Chi. He was the one who claimed that Mu Chi-Chi and Su Zipei wanted to frame him. They purposely created a controversy on the internet. Mu Chi-Chi turned to look at Papa Mu and sneered. How dare you say that? The last time I came to the company to look for you, I was stopped by your front desk. I know that you always despise my family background, but I'm now a shareholder of your company. If I don't accompany her, would I let her, a shareholder, be humiliated by your front desk again? After I was chased out of the house, I was homeless. I had nowhere to go. I could only work in a small clinic. I slept on a stool at night. It was my aunt who saved me and protected me. Shouldn't I protect her? My mother is dead. She wanted to divorce you. So, she was burned to death in the Mu family's house. How can I not hate you? For an 18-year-old girl to say such heart-wrenching words in public, the shareholders were also anxious. Papa Mu was a son. He did not investigate the truth of his mother's death. Instead, he used his daughter to appease his anger. It was unheard of for a father to treat his twin sisters differently and favor his younger daughter, who was beneficial to him. As brothers, he and the other members of the Mu family were never on good terms. In the end, Grandpa Mu had nothing else to say. He said to all the shareholders, "Let's vote. If more than half of the votes are cast, the dismissal will take effect." Mu Chi-Chi walked to Su Zipei's side after hearing that. The secretary took out a ballot box and asked the shareholders to put their votes in it. What else could Papa Mu say now that his family and private affairs were exposed and Mu Chi-Chi was here as a witness? He could only wait for the voting results. After all, he had already negotiated with many shareholders last night. Although he would suffer a great loss, as long as he could keep his position as CEO, it would be worth it. Soon, the votes were tallied, and the secretary made a public vote. Mu Chi-Chi glanced at Papa Mu, then at her youngest uncle and Su Zipei. How could they not think of what Papa Mu could think of? They were well aware of Papa Mu's behavior. So, when Papa Mu walked out of the shareholders' house, they followed him into his house. There are a total of 24 shareholders. 23 of them voted for the dismissal and 1 abstained from voting. So, the decision to dismiss CEO Mu is effective. Papa Mu stood up immediately after hearing that. He pointed at the shareholders last night and said, "You took the bribe and now you are going back on your words? We have already told the chairman about you bribing us. We have also returned all the bribe you gave us. Since it has taken effect, from today onwards, my youngest son will be the CEO of Mu Group. Is there any objection?" Grandpa Mu seized the opportunity to push Mr. Mu Xiao to take over the position. Father. Papa Mu looked at Grandpa Mu in despair. Even you are going to abandon me? Do you know what Shui said to me when I went out this morning? She begged me to protect her. Because she was afraid that you would vent your anger on her and abuse her. I think you will not be so hot-tempered from now on, right? Grandpa Mu said coldly. If you are not happy, get out of the Mu family. Mu Chi-Chi looked at Papa Mu, who lost his composure. She felt that the result was the best consolation for her mother. That scumbag had finally lost his power. She wanted to share the good news with Xiao Xiao the most. Although Xiao Xiao should have known about the result, because he was the one who directed the whole thing. Chapter 114. Since it's just a temporary replacement, there shouldn't be a problem. We'll hold another board meeting and vote for the new CEO. The shareholders said. I think Mr. Mu Xiao is young and promising. He's a good candidate. Then, Mr. Mu Xiao would definitely be the temporary CEO. On the other hand, Papa Mu looked defeated. His eyes were filled with hatred. Of course, he was resentful when he was fired. Especially when he looked at Su Zipei and Mu Chi-Chi. His eyes were as sharp as knives. He wanted to cut them into pieces. However, the more Papa Mu hated them, the happier they felt. Because this bastard always cared about his own interests. Now that he had lost his power, wasn't it the same as killing him? If that's the case, go back and prepare to hand over to your brother. From now on, you're not allowed to step into Mu Group except for the shareholders' meeting. Grandpa Mu said to Papa Mu. If you know that you're wrong, you should stay at home and cultivate. If you're still stubborn, don't blame me for turning against you. Papa Mu tried his best to hold himself back. He could not accept the fact that he had lost his power. However, at this moment, with so many pairs of eyes staring at him, what else could he do? I won't let it go just like that. Especially to you. Papa Mu threatened the shareholders in the meeting room, especially Mu Chi-Chi and Su Zipei. Then, he left the meeting room of Mu Group, leaving the crowd laughing at him. What else does he want? Mu Chi-Chi and Su Zipei looked at each other. They did not believe that Papa Mu would let it go just like that. However, they were fearless for the person they cared about. Grandpa Mu seemed to have aged after the meeting. When the shareholders were about to leave, he said to Su Zipei, "You've done what you wanted. Can you let us go now? I'm afraid that your son won't let us go either." Su Zipei said to Grandpa Shen. It's true that women like us can't do much, but we can't force them either. Otherwise, they'll do whatever it takes to let him know that he can't do whatever he wants in this world. You guys should let Shui off as well. As for Mu Tangxue, they had no intention of dealing with her in the first place. As long as Mu Tangxue wasn't asking for trouble, Mu Tangxue was not a threat to Mu Chi-Chi since she couldn't go to school and had no backing. Even so, there were some people in this world who liked to overestimate themselves. Mu Chi-Chi looked at Su Zipei without saying a word. Grandpa Mu was speechless too. He turned around and left Mu Group. Soon, there were only a few people left in the meeting room of Mu Group. Su Zipei grabbed Mr. Mu Xiao and said, "I want to ask you something." "Miss Su, feel free to ask." Mr. Mu Xiao did not dare to look down on them now. He had been dreaming for so many years, but these two women had helped him achieve his dream. "Aren't you my benefactors? When you refuted that scum just now, you mentioned the eldest young master of the Shen family. What else do you know? Can you tell me what the secret between the two of them is?" Mr. Mu Xiao chuckled and asked her, "Didn't second sister-in-law tell you about it all these years?" "I've never heard of it." The eldest young master of the Shen family, Shen Jianchuan, used to be second brother's best friend. But at that time, I heard that second sister-in-law and eldest young master Shen had a special relationship. Of course, no one knew about this. You also know that the Shen family is a big family. At that time, second sister-in-law was just a white-collar worker. How could she enter the Shin family? The three of them often meet up to play golf and something like that. But I don't know why second brother came home and begged Dad to let him marry second sister-in-law. Of course, Dad didn't agree. But second brother told him that second sister-in-law was pregnant. So, Dad had no choice but to agree. Second sister-in-law got pregnant and married into the Mu family. Then, Mu Tangxue and Mu Qiqi were born. But not long after that, something happened to the eldest young master of the Shin family. He is still lying in the hospital now. He is half dead. Second sister-in-law was a man who valued his own interests. But, he married second sister-in-law who had no background at all. It puzzled us for a long time. Maybe he really liked second sister-in-law. But, we don't know why he became so cold to her. We all guessed that it had something to do with eldest young Master Shin. Moreover, we know that my second brother is a vicious and merciless person, so we suspected that he had something to do with what happened to young Master Shin. My second brother, second sister-in-law, and the eldest young master of the Shin family. There must be a grudge and a secret between these three. You heard it today. He admitted it when I lied to him. Su Zipei had a plan. She stood up and shook hands with Mr. Mu Xiao. Thank you. I will get to the bottom of it. It's not easy to investigate the past. You can come to me anytime if you need me. And you, Qiqi, your father is not a good man. But, your uncle treats you well. Mu Qiqi smiled. But, she never felt that anyone in the Mu family was sincere to her. Thank you, uncle. I don't know where that bastard is hiding. I hope you can send someone to send me and Aunt Zipei out. You have improved after going out for a while. You are so thoughtful now. You are like an adult now. Having said that, Mr. Mu Xiao asked the security guards to send them away. But, when they left, she saw Papa Mu smashing things in his office. Are you going crazy now? You will go crazy when the DNA test results are out. Su Zipei thought to herself. Aunt Zipei, let's go. Mu Qiqi said to Su Zipei. Su Zipei nodded and left Mu group with Mu Qiqi. Mr. Mu Xiao personally sent them downstairs. But before they left the main entrance, Mu Qiqi said to Mr. Mu Xiao, Uncle, shouldn't we change the receptionist of Mu group? Mr. Mu Xiao understood what Mu Qiqi meant. He nodded. I know. You are so smart. You won't see her again. It was human nature to be taught a lesson sooner or later if one did not know how to respect others. Mu Qiqi heaved a sigh of relief when they left Mu group. Aunt Zipei, I was so nervous. I thought that I couldn't defeat that bastard. How powerful is young Master Sheng? He knew that he would find a chance to fight back. But, it's a pity that he doesn't know who his real opponent is. Su Zipei snorted. I only hope that my sister will know about this and protect you. Chapter 115. Actually, Su Zipei wanted to see him too. The results of the DNA test should be out, right? Coupled with the information she received from Mr. Mu Xiao today, Su Zipei thought that the reason why Shen Jianchuan was in a vegetative state must have something to do with that scumbag. In Mu Group. Mr. Mu Xiao entered the CEO's office after everyone left. He sat on the chair and said, Second brother, you should pack up as soon as possible. After all, you don't belong here anymore. Papa Mu threw the box in his hand and grabbed Mr. Mu Xiao's sleeve angrily. You won't be happy for long. Do you know why you lost in the end? Mr. Mu Xiao asked with a smile. Because you underestimated your opponent. You didn't know that Su Zipei and Mu Qiqi would do this to you behind your back. They made you a hot topic and made you look like a stinky rat. You can't blame them for that. Mr. Mu Xiao smiled. They only wanted second sister-in-law's body. How dare you cremate her? If you didn't cross the line, do you think you would get what you deserve today? You don't have the right to say that to me. Papa Mu said fiercely. It's not up to you to judge whether I have the right to say that to you. I only know that you don't have the right to stand in this office anymore. Get lost. Papa Moo knew that the winner was always right. But how terrible was the result? At that moment, he knew it very well. Papa Moo left the office with the box in his hand. Even though the people around him were pointing at him, he couldn't care less. Hatred and anger, these two emotions had always been intertwined in his heart. He really wanted to go home and ask that old fart what he had done wrong. So, Papa Moo returned to Grandpa Moo's villa as fast as he could. Mu Tangshue's face turned pale when she saw his gloomy face. Grandpa Moo said to Mu Tangshue, "Go back to your room." Mu Tangshue obeyed and went back to her room. She did not dare to watch such a scene. Papa Moo stepped forward. He almost wanted to grab Grandpa Moo's collar. "If you touch me, don't even think about getting the Moo family's inheritance." Grandpa Moo's threat worked. No matter how much Papa Moo hated him, he would not give up the inheritance. "I've been working for Moo Group for so many years. I've done a lot of hard work and this is how you dismiss me? If you hadn't done so many dirty things, you wouldn't have needed me to clean up your mess again and again. I'm old and can't do it anymore. You're on your own." Papa Moo was not convinced. He panted heavily. "Old man, you really know how to burn bridges after crossing the river. You only have yourself to blame for what has happened today." Grandpa Xing's attitude towards his unfilial son was very firm. He knew that if he showed even a hint of softness, Papa Moo would have the misconception that he could rise again. He didn't want to waste any more time on this son of his. Their conversation was short, but Mu Tangshue was quite frightened. She was afraid that her father would treat her and her grandpa the same way he treated her mommy. Grandpa Sheng was her only support now. Mu Tangshue didn't know where she got the courage to open the door. But Papa Moo was not in the living room. Grandpa Moo saw Mu Tangshue and called her, "Shue, come here, Grandpa." Mu Tangshue walked to Grandpa Moo and laid on his knees. "From now on, you should focus on following me. I'll think of a way to educate you. Don't be afraid." Mu Tangshue was like a frightened bird. After all, Grandpa Sheng would pass away one day. She had to find someone else to support her. She couldn't count on her father anymore. Should she go and please her uncle? If her father knew about it, he would definitely not forgive her. Mu Tangshue didn't expect that she would have a chance to make a comeback soon. And it was given by Xing Shao. Mu Qiqi and Su Zipei did not see Xing Shao when they returned to the small mansion. After all, Xing Shao was the crown prince of Huangyao. He was occupied with work during the day. However, Lu Wenhua was quite free. After hearing about Papa Moo's fate, Lu Wenhua smiled. "It's good now, good? What does it have to do with you?" Su Zipei teased Lu Wenhua. Lu Wenhua was still smiling. He answered Su Zipei gently, "I'll be happy if you're happy." "Ahem. I'm going back to my room. You guys take your time." Mu Qiqi knew that she shouldn't be a third wheel anymore. So, she quickly went back to her room. Although she couldn't see Xing Shao now, she could share the good news with him immediately. Xiao Xiao, that bastard finally lost the most important thing to him. "He finally took revenge for my mother." Xing Shao read the message and replied, "It's not enough to make him lose Mu Group. Because there were many things that needed to be investigated. For example, the eldest young master of the Shen family and Mama Moo's death. Although they all pointed to Papa Moo, they didn't have any solid evidence. They still needed to find the answer. Especially, why Mu Tangshue and Mu Qiqi had two different fathers. What did Mama Moo go through during that period of time? They still needed to find the answer. Of course, Mu Qiqi didn't understand the meaning behind Xing Zhao's words. It was because what Xing Shao knew and what Mu Qiqi knew were not on the same level anymore. Mu Qiqi only thought that Xing Shao was doting on her. But, she didn't know how much Xing Shao cared about her. He was worried about her. Then, Xing Xiao took out the cufflinks that Mu Qiqi gave him and played with it. He would definitely change Mu Qiqi's life. The results of the DNA test were out. It was the same as the last time. Moreover, to answer the question of half-brothers, Xing Xiao had Jing Yun look for an expert. He wanted to be 100% sure that it was not ridiculous, but real. The expert's answer was more professional than Jing Yun's. He even provided detailed comparison data and various examples. But the general idea was the same as Jing Yun's. Mu Qiqi and Mu Tangxue had nothing in common other than their faces. Their personalities were completely different too. They were fraternal twins. The mother's genes are so strong that it weakens the father's genes. So, even if there are differences, it's not obvious. That's enough. Xing Xiao didn't want to listen to the professional jargon anymore. So, he interrupted the expert. This is confidential. If it's leaked. Chapter 116. Young Master, are you going to tell Miss Mu Qiqi about this? Jing Yun asked Xing Xiao after seeing the experts off. I have other plans for Mu Qiqi. The most important thing now is to let Mu Tangxue know without leaving a trace. Xing Xiao stared at Jing Yun with his sharpest gaze. If there's no other way, we might need Aunt Sue's help. Then, the Shen family, let's get off work. Nonetheless, Xing Xiao did not tell Jing Yun much about his plan because he needed to discuss it with Su Zipei before he could make any further moves. After all, Mu Qiqi had just avenged her mother, and now she was about to receive another blow. Although he could not bear it, there were some things that had to be arranged as soon as possible. Since she was a member of the Shen family, she had to return to them. After all, she still had her family and support. After work, Xing Xiao promptly drove to the little mansion, completely unaware that Mama Sheng was calling out to him countless times behind him. Mama Sheng was curious about the strange people Xing Xiao had been seeing recently, and wanted to ask him about it. But he was nowhere to be seen after work. Jing Yun, what has your young master been busy with lately? Why can't I catch him even after I came to Huangyao? Madam, he's naturally busy with Huangyao. Jing Yun replied. Could it not be related to a woman? Jing Yun shook his head. Forget it. There's no use asking a blockhead like you. You must tell me if you see him interacting with any woman. Yes, madam. Jing Yun brushed it off for Xing Xiao, because he knew that if the Xing family learned that Xing Xiao was living together with a 19-year-old girl, their hearts would stop in shock. Although he did not know how Xing Xiao would solve the problem when the time comes, and it would be difficult to even think about it, what could he do since the young master would not turn back? Perhaps it was as Xing Xiao said, people really should not succumb to fate in this life. Xing Xiao arrived at the little mansion at night, and Mu Qiqi came to him when she saw him, holding his warm hand. I've prepared a sumptuous dinner for you today, and it's all your favorites. You've figured out what I like? Xing Xiao couldn't help but raise a brow. Even I've figured it out, not to mention my aunt. Mu Qiqi smiled at him. Xiao Xiao, you don't know how dangerous it was today. That scumbag almost fooled us. Xing Xiao sat down at the dining table and looked at Su Zipei. I have something to talk to Aunt Su after dinner, something I can't know again? Mu Qiqi looked at him with a relieved expression. I know. I'll watch TV in the living room. Xing Xiao reached out and pinched her cheek. In fact, he knew very well that whatever he wanted to discuss with Zipei was about herself. Who else could it be about other than herself? However, I hope that you will not treat me as a child in the future. I am already 19 years old. In my heart, you will always be a child. Su Zipei couldn't help but laugh. After dinner, the two of them went to the study, leaving Mu Qiqi alone in the living room. However, Su Zipei was curious as to why Mu Qiqi could not know about this. Young Master Sheng, is Mu Qiqi not allowed to know the truth? It's not as simple as you think. Sheng Zhao's eyes were deep and extremely sharp, striking fear in anyone who saw them. Even Su Zipei, who had lived most of her life and seen countless people, had to admit that she could not see through Xing Zhao's eyes. Please tell me, young Master Sheng. The DNA test shows that Mu Qiqi is indeed a child of the Shen family. After hearing this, Su Zipei seemed to be mentally prepared. Since my sister suspects it, she must have a basis for it. But after saying that, Xing Xiao added another twist to his words. But although she and Mu Tangxue are twins, Mu Tangxue is not a member of the Shen family, but a member of the Mu family. Xing Xiao told Su Zipei with a hint of playfulness. Although it is surprising, Jing Yun had done 2 DNA tests. Mu Qiqi is a member of the Shen family, but Mu Tangxue is not. Well, I don't understand. For that, I asked a medical expert to answer the question. He told me that Mu Tangxue and Mu Qiqi are not identical twins, but fraternal twins. But they look, in short, it means that their mother's genes are strong and similar to their mother's, which is why they are no different from identical twins. Their father's genes are weakened, which is why their traits are not obvious. But there is nothing similar between them apart from their faces, especially their personalities. Xing Xiao explained simply. Su Zipei took a moment to accept it. So there is such a thing in this world. I also suspected that the expert was making it up, which is why I forced him to show me the evidence. As it turns out, there really are such examples in this world, and they are not the first pair. Since young Master Sheng has investigated and confirmed it, shouldn't we get to the bottom of what actually happened 20 years ago? Su Zipei asked for Xing Zhao's opinion. No. Xing Xiao shook his head. I have another plan for this. Mu Tangxue is a Shen, but Mu Tangxue is not. Since they look so similar, she would think that she is a Shen too if you tell her that Mu Tangxue is from the Shen family. Then, she would think of a way to get rid of the Mu family, and go to the Shen family to reunite with them. Moreover, she would definitely provoke the Mu family when she gets involved with the Mu family, especially Papa Mu. He would think that the daughter he raised is actually someone else's child. That would make it easier for him to expose himself. That would be more useful than any investigation. On the other hand, Mu Tangxue thinks that she is a Shen too, and is sure that Mu Tangxue would return to the Shen family in the end. Do you think she would want to strike first, and act pitiful in front of the Shen family? Or spread rumors? Wouldn't that be bad for Mu Tangxue? Xing Xiao shook his head. As for the Shen family, I will tell Grandpa Shen about the results. Then, it would be useless no matter how Mu Tangxue acts in front of him. In the end, the Shen family would only acknowledge Mu Tangxue's identity. Su Zipei understood what Xing Xiao meant, and was surprised. If it were anyone else, they would not be able to play such a big game of chess. Not only did they get rid of the Mu family, but they also humiliated Mu Tangxue. Chapter 117. Then when can we tell Mu Qiqi? That was the last thing Xing Xiao wanted to face, because the little one had endured and suffered enough recently. I'll find a chance. Xing Xiao told Su Zipei. I don't want to hide everything from her. According to her, she is already an adult and has the right to know. Moreover, I don't believe that my woman can't even handle this. Su Zipei nodded at Xing Xiao's words. After going through so much, Mu Qiqi doesn't need our comfort or worry. She knows how to deal with it. It's easy with Mu Tangxue. I just have to go to Mr. Mu Xiao with the excuse of investigating the past and inadvertently reveal it to him. Do you think he would hold back from telling the Mu family? I'll go to him immediately when the time is right. It's not convenient for me to interfere with the Mu family. That's why I can only rely on you. Xing Xiao told Su Zipei. At least now is not the time to let the Mu family know that I'm behind Mu Qiqi. We have to wait until the Mu family can't fight back, and when that time comes, I can go to them. I understand. Su Zipei nodded. If that's the case, I'll wait for your news. Young Master Sheng, Mu Qiqi's background is so complicated. How would it affect you in the future? You want to ask about the Sheng family? Sheng Xiao suddenly looked up at the door of the study with a hint of coldness. I'll pave the way for Mu Qiqi. You don't have to worry about that. Young Master Sheng, as long as I can help you and Mu Qiqi, you just have to tell me what it is. Mu Qiqi is my only family now. Who else would I do it for if not for her? Sheng Xiao was aware of Su Zipei's feelings for Mu Qiqi. She had always treated her as her own daughter. Live your own life if you really want what's best for her. Mu Qiqi sat in the living room and let her imagination run wild. What could those two be hiding from her? Anything that needed to be hidden must not be good, right? Soon, they left the study, and Sheng Xiao waved at Mu Qiqi. Let's go home. Mu Qiqi nodded and followed Sheng Xiao. It was only after they got into the car that Sheng Xiao asked, have you ever thought that you're not a member of the Mu family? Mu Qiqi was stunned for a few seconds and nodded. I never thought of myself as a member of the Mu family. I'm serious. Mu Qiqi realized that what he was going to say next would not be so simple, and so answered seriously, of course. I've always felt that I didn't fit in with the Mu family since I was young, because every one of them is so good at acting, especially Mu Tongxue. But how could I not be family when I look so much like Mu Tongxue? Sheng Xiao did not say anything else, but his cold, hard face was tense, and she could feel that he was holding back something. Mu Qiqi kept waiting, but Sheng Xiao did not say anything else. Until they entered their new home, Sheng Xiao promptly dragged Mu Qiqi into the study, and put the DNA report in front of her. Look at it yourself. Whose DNA is this? Mu Qiqi asked as she tore open the paper bag. Sheng Xiao took off his shirt, revealing his bronze torso, and sat beside Mu Qiqi, hugging her as they opened the envelope. Mu Qiqi could not focus at once as she took a whiff of Sheng Xiao's pleasant scent. That was why she pushed him away. Don't get so close to me. I can't look at the results seriously. Don't talk nonsense. Look at my chest. You'll need it later. Helpless, Mu Qiqi could only let the tyrant do as he pleased. Sheng Xiao was very restrained in front of Mu Qiqi. He never spoke ill of her, nor did he really tease her. Even so, his little actions would expose his demonic nature from time to time. Mu Qiqi took out the DNA report and leaned against Sheng Xiao's chest, reading it seriously. But she was not as sad as Sheng Xiao and Su Zipei imagined, and simply sighed. So, I'm a Shen, and Mu Tongxue is a Mu? Sheng Xiao turned her to look at her face. You're not sad? Why should I be? Mu Qiqi asked in return. Shouldn't I be happy? That scum isn't my father, isn't? Do you know how lucky I am at this moment? Sheng Xiao hugged Mu Qiqi, burying her head in his chest. You should be happy. The Mu family can't compare to the Shen family's influence in Jianchuan, and now you've suddenly turned from an abandoned child to the eldest daughter of the Shen family. That status isn't the same anymore. You know I don't care about that. Mu Qiqi smiled. I'm happy that I have nothing to do with that heartless animal. That's why I'm keeping it to myself. I think that being with you now is the life I want, and I don't have to return to the Shen family. You must return to the Shen family. Sheng Xiao told Mu Qiqi. You have a real family, and your aunt and I are planning to use it against Papa Mu and Mu Tongxue. Sheng Xiao chuckled in relief when he saw that Mu Qiqi wasn't sad. The eldest daughter of the Shen family has suffered for so many years in the Mu family. Aren't you going to settle the score? Moreover, who is Mu Tongxue? She bullied you. You're really... Mu Qiqi smiled helplessly. So you've been discussing that with my aunt in the study all this while? Are you afraid that I can't handle it? It's a series of blows, after all. Mu Qiqi snorted fearlessly. What do I have to be afraid of now? Not afraid? Sheng Xiao's eyes darkened, his hand reaching into her clothes. Mu Qiqi quickly pulled back and raised her hands in surrender. I'm afraid. Xiao Xiao, please spare me. After hearing this, Xing Xiao picked her up and placed her on the desk, right under the DNA report she was reading just now. Alright, I'll let you go now. How was that sparing? Xing Xiao's kiss was so seductive and sexy that Mu Qiqi had no strength to resist, and could only cling helplessly to his shoulder. Soon, her body became immeasurably cool, because Xing Xiao had thrown all her clothes in the middle of the study floor. Xiao Xiao, slow down. Xing Xiao chuckled and held Mu Qiqi's slender waist, pressing them together perfectly without leaving a gap. At the same time, the heat from Xing Xiao's body made Mu Qiqi blush and her heart race, making her nervous. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.